I'm 1,000 pieces, still standing tall, a voice in the chaos. I've lived it all. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, a friend in the night, holding the broken, still holding the light. Shells in my pocket, dreams in my hands, building something they don't understand. The crafter of hope from shattered days, finding my strength in a million ways. They don't see the tears fall down in the shower. They don't know the pain behind the power. They only see me when I'm shining bright, not the battles I fight every night. But still I rise through the fire they made, through the hate, through the words they threw in my face. I'm still here, I'm still strong. This is where I belong. Mommy ramblings in my name. I built this boy full of pain. Every rebel that stayed by my side. You're the reason I survive. Still I rise, still I stand, with a broken heart and steady hand. They try to tear me down piece by piece, like I don't deserve a moment of peace. Was it just cause I didn't fit the mold? So they threw their stones and turned so cold. There are things I'll never say out loud, the kind of pain that don't need a crowd. But I carry it deep where the silence lives, and still find a way to give and give. And I smile when I go live like I'm okay, but they don't see the price I'll pay. I'm missing you with every breath I take. My sweet boy, my heart's still brave. But still I rose for the fire they made, through the hate, through the words they threw in my face. I'm still here, I'm still strong. This is where I belong. Mommy ramblings, this is me. Every left still chasing dreams. Every rebel that never walked away. You're the light that got me through the grave. Still I rise, still up there, with your memory in my head. God, you carried me when I was weak, when I couldn't stand, you lifted me more times than I could ever say. You made a way, you made a way. And I've got dreams that won't let go, a foundation built, some love I know. For my son, for the words he played, I'll turn my loss into something that remains. Yeah, I rise, now I'm stronger than before. Every scar just opened up a door. I'm still here, hear me now. I won't break, I won't bow. Mommy rambling, loud and clear. This is my voice, this is my year. Every rebel, every heart, you've been with me from the start. Still I rise, still I fight, turning darkness into light. I'm still your mom, and I'll build something beautiful from all this pain. This pain.
Think of all the places that could expose you to identity theft. If something happens,
He was my person, my always call, the one who knew me, flaws and all. An adult now, but still my boy, my best friend dressed in grown-up noise. One day here, the next just gone. The world kept spinning, mine stopped on a song. They say I'm strong, they say I cope. They don't see how I hold my hope, like glass pressed tight against my chest, because the truth would end what's left. So I carry it quiet, I carry it deep. I smile so others don't fall when I weep. There's a pain no parent should ever know, a club no one joins, but here I go. I live half in faith, half in pretend, because if I faced it I wouldn't stand. They say I'm strong, I just survive with the quiet I carry to stay alive. I see his age on passing boys, hear his laugh in background noise. I wonder where he'd be right now, who he loved, what he'd have found. Some shows we watch that can't go near, they still hold him, he's still there. People whisper, people freeze, like saying his name's a disease, as if silence makes it okay, like love just learns to go away. So I carry it quiet, I carry it alone. I don't let the cracks show in my bones. There's a pain no parent should ever survive, yet somehow I do for the rest of my life. I live half in memory, half in grace, half looking back, half holding space. They say I'm strong, they don't see the quiet weight living inside of me. Sometimes he sends me little signs, a song, a bird, a perfect time, and my heart knows he's still near. It's the silence that's hardest to hear. I'd go back, I'd freeze that day, hold him longer, never let him stray. But time doesn't bend for desperate hands, so I love him where I stand. I still have 5 who need my light, so I rise each day, I choose the fight. But I won't let this world forget his name. I'll speak it louder, I'll make it mean something. I'll buy his voice, I'll make it count, turn this grief into higher ground. So I carry it quiet, but I won't erase the sun to shape my heart and face. There's a pain no parent should ever hold, but love doesn't die, it just turns bold. I'll build a place where broken hearts can say his name and start to start. They say I'm strong, maybe that's true, but everything good I do is still for you. On the lake where your line once cast, on the shore where my prayers still last, I feel God close, I feel you too, between the water and the blue. I love what they say, this sacred scar, a mother still loving you wherever you are. So I carry it quiet, but I won't erase the sun to shape my heart and face. There's a pain no parent should ever hold, but love doesn't die, it just turns bold. I'll build a place where broken hearts can say his name and start to start. They say I'm strong, maybe that's true, but everything good I do is still for you. On the lake where your line once cast, on the shore where my prayers still last, I feel God close, I feel you too, between the water this ache, this sacred scar, a mother still loving you wherever you are. So I carry it quiet, but I won't erase the sun to shape my heart and face. There's a pain no parent should ever hold, but love doesn't die, it just turns bold. I'll build a place where broken hearts can say his name and start to start. They say I'm strong, maybe that's true, but everything good I do is still for you. On the lake where your line once cast, on a shore where my prayers still last, I feel God close, I feel you too. Between the water and the blue, I love with this ache, this sacred scar, a mother still loving you wherever you are.
July is Bereaved Parents Month, so for all the parents who have lost a child, we pray for you. And for everybody that's had a loss, I pray for you. And July, I think there's a lot of good things that are going to happen in July, and to support grieving people, grieving parents, grieving spouses, grieving people grieving. And I think we're going to make our 50,000 subs goal too, so that's good. Why isn't my camera working? Okay. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to, it's already the 8th of July, so yeah, it's Bereaved Parents Month, but really for anybody that's grieving, I wish you comfort and peace, and I hope you see signs. Okay, so And I didn't ask her. I always have somebody that tells me I'm supposed to ask somebody before we pray for them. But I didn't ask her, but I don't think she's going to mind. Please keep Bucky Ann in your thoughts and prayers, okay? All right. What else was I going to do? Oh, yeah, I have Taylor Parker. I have the police interview. We saw the one in the hospital, Taylor Parker from Maternal Instinct on Netflix. She cut the baby out of Reagan Hancock. And terrible case. She tried to do it to keep her boyfriend, Wade. And come on. It's just horrible thing. So Are you all familiar with Taylor Parker? Let me say hi to everybody first. Hi, Debbie Doll. Hi, White Angel. Oh, you know what I did too? I have a video. I made another one of those. I made 2 other trays today after I was pretty productive today. I really was. I steam cleaned my shower. Then I didn't color my hair, so that I didn't get that done. But I got a huge long swim in. Then the kids came down, they swam. Then we went and had pizza. Then what else did I do? Then in the between I made 2 more trays. You know, like the tray I made White Angel? I made another one, just like that. It's so cute. And then I made a round one with that Christmas tree. I'm making a video. I'm going to show it on the video. It's so cute. You just got home from church games night? Oh, that sounds fun. And then what else did we do? I went for a walk. What else did I do today? Did some emails and stuff like that with research for cases and stuff, but yeah. Was the person who was sentenced to death? Yes, in Texas, yes. Taylor Parker. Yeah. Hi, Julianne. Good to see you. So, yeah, so we're going to talk about that, but I don't know. Let me show you I'll show you something. Hold on a minute. I'm going to put it up in a video. I'm going to make a little short of it, but I'll show you what I made today because I like crafting. Oh, shoot, it's a good thing I went here because if I left my glue gun on, my battery would have died. That's good. Let me make sure I covered my paint and everything. Let me get a tissue too. Okay. Oh, all right, so let me get this. Oh, hey, Denise, thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, Raised in the Boondocks. Raised? Is that Raised in the Boondocks? Hi, Raised in the Boondocks. You just watched it on Netflix. Great. And thank you. We just have a new subscriber or something in there. I can't see the name, but thank you for subscribing. You watched the documentary? Good. Thank you, Denise. Let me play you a song. Hold on. Let me play you a song. While the song plays, I'll hold up what I made. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. You're so generous. Okay, let me see.
Whoa, super chat, look at you. Sending love, we see it too. Thank you, round the shining bright. Mommy ramblings love tonight. Lights are glowing, hearts are true. Every word.
You'll see it better in the short. You'll see it better in the short. Those are the two I just made. But I'm going to put them in a short. And this one over here, I'm going to put sparklies on the beads here. But, yeah, I just did those today. I just did those between swimming. And look, see, you know I went swimming because look at my hair. It's like, it's crazy what the water does to my hair. Okay. All right, let me get this video up because we're going to watch the police interview. It's really something. Yeah, we play that when someone donates a super chat. Okay. It must have been difficult to watch. I don't think it wasn't. They didn't do they never put everything in a full documentary. And when you know a case, sometimes the documentaries, if they're not done well, they tick you off, right? Because they don't have everything in there. Okay, I'm going to get the video queued up here. Let me go in my files here. Taylor Parker's the file. Okay, is this the video? Let me see. I believe this is the video. Yes, it is.
Did you ever turn Reagan's phone off?
I never touched her phone.
Just checking. I'm going to ask these questions. Did you delete anything off her phone?
No, I never touched her phone.
Did you delete anything off of your phone?
No.
Alright. Do you have any social media accounts with a false name?
No.
You sure? You don't have any made up social media accounts?
No, I don't have any social media made up accounts. I got my Taylor Morton for my Facebook. I got my Instagram that's Tay Wake.
Debbie, she actually became friends with this person. She actually photographed Reagan's wedding. She photographed Reagan's wedding So she became friends with her. Yeah. And when Reagan became pregnant, yeah, well, she became a target then. She had a target on her back.
Casey?
You know we do have your phone, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we're gonna be able to find, if there's anything that's made up or real, right? You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm asking you one more time. Do you have any made up accounts?
No, I have no made up social media accounts.
What about any applications on your phone used for, instead of calling someone by your phone number, you actually call someone by a made up phone number? Tell me about those that's on your phone.
I have a text free app when my phone got shut off.
Okay. Alright. Did you use it recently?
Did I use it? No. I mean,
You know I know something, right? That's why, hey, a lot of times when I ask you questions, I know the answer. So, have you used the text-free app or any other type of app lately that created a number for you?
Take that as a yes.
yeah, within the last week.
What was that about?
Buying hogs.
What are we talking about?
Messaging a guy about buying some hogs over state line.
Tell me about that.
Wade ships hogs over state line and
So selling the homes across state line?
They're asking her, he's asking her, she has an app on her phone that spoofs a number, okay? So this is what a lot of scammers use, why you get calls from, it says the IRS, but it's not the IRS, etc., etc. So he knows she has this on her phone. He asks her why she used it. And she says, to buy hogs, yeah, across state lines. Yeah, sure. Okay.
yes.
Okay. You know I know more, right?
Well, why don't you tell me?
I don't need to. I want you to tell me.
No, just tell me.
Laughing.
You wanted to tell him.
Hey, I know more.
Alright.
You don't have a baby, okay? Tell me more about made-up phone numbers and making phone calls.
And making phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
I have not made any phone calls.
The week prior?
No.
The week prior.
We,
You had an event that you were supposed to make, but you didn't make it.
One day,
Calling in a bomb threat, maybe? Does that jog your memory, honey?
you mean, you look like you want to tell me something, so that's...
Because I want you to tell me. That's why.
Tell you what?
I want you to admit to something that you did prior to this murder.
I didn't
To
do anything.
avoid going to get induced. What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Taylor, listen. Those apps, a lot of people think you can't track them.
You can.
That 100%.
You know how we find an email address?
You look it up.
No. It's so much easier when you just spit things out.
What happened Monday morning?
We had a fire at the house.
Tell us about that.
We had a fire at the house. It woke us up and at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. What happened then?
Wade got up. We
Yes, he was. Both.
put the fire out.
Mm-hmm. And then what?
Once it was out, we laid back down. I got up once to go check to see if it had sparked back up. It didn't, but we were both in the bed.
Okay.
My dad called me that morning.
Mm-hmm.
He was asking to see how I was doing. He told me.
And what did you do?
I didn't start that fire.
What did you do after the fire?
We both went back to bed.
A whole nother incident that happened after the fire, after you went back to bed allegedly. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. We went back to bed. Ask him. I was laying right
I
beside
don't need to
him.
ask him, okay? You know I know the answer. You missed something. You couldn't make something that you were supposed to go do. And there's a specific reason why.
We went to sleep and we slept through. We were supposed to go to the hospital at 5.
Yeah, what happened?
We slept through.
What happened to prevent you from going to the hospital, though?
They had a bomb threat.
How did they have a bomb threat? You can admit.
I'm not admitting to anything I didn't
listen,
do.
Please, you can admit to taking a scalpel and opening a woman up and taking her baby and leaving. Okay, remember, you can admit to that.
Yes, I will admit to something that I
You
did
can
do.
admit to that, but you can't admit to this bomb threat?
No!
Then why is it linked back to you?
I
Are you
don't
telling
know.
me-
I did not.
Did Wade call in a bomb threat?
I would hope to God not.
Well,
We were both in the
does
bed.
Wade ever use your phone?
He has,
Does
yeah.
he ever use your phone, though?
I mean, he has. He's gotten on my phone, yeah.
Okay. Did he use your phone that day?
I don't think so. We were both in the bed with each other. Both our phones were in the bed.
Did he use the phone? Your phone that day?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Did you use the phone that day? That morning?
No, I didn't use the phone that
On a
morning.
made-up number.
No.
You go to the hospital.
No.
All right. Well, you do know there's been an investigation on the bomb threat, right?
I knew that because my dad called me that morning and told
It's
me.
linked back to you. You know that, right?
Oh, goddamn. I did not do that.
Okay.
I
Well,
will admit to something that I did do.
okay. Well, I'm just telling you, the evidence is there. It's linked back to you,
What
and
the
I'm
fuck?
trying to understand why you did it that day.
I didn't.
When you want to talk about it, you let me know. I can understand you
I
not
didn't-
wanting to go to the hospital to induce labor for a
We
baby
had a
that you don't
fucking
have.
house fire that
But
morning.
you got a baby. You don't have a baby. You have an appointment to have a baby removed from you that day.
We did
but
not.
you
It was
can't
supposed to go
make
to the
it.
doctor. It was not going to have a baby
understand-
taken
I
out.
thought we talked about it the other day that you had an appointment to get induced that day, but you couldn't go because your house caught on fire and there's a bomb threat.
It wasn't to be induced. It was supposed to just go to the doctor.
Wade was under the impression that y'all were going to be induced to labor because you had missed several other appointments at hospitals. COVID, they wouldn't take you because you're OB shopping or hopping. You make this appointment Monday to be there early in the morning.
No, we were just supposed to go and see Amanda White was what I told him. We weren't
At
going
5
to...
a.m. in the morning, you were going to see the OB doctor.
No,
Well, that's what you just said. At 5 a.m., you were supposed to be there at 5 a.m. in the morning to see a doctor. There is not no
Well,
doctor.
we were going to get up at 5. But
You
we
said you
slept
had to be
through.
there at 5. There's not one OB doctor in this
We were
nation.
not going to get induced that morning.
That's what Wade said he was under the impression of. He had told
He's been
people.
under the... yeah, he was going around talking about certain stuff.
Who was telling him those? Where was he getting that information? He obviously didn't just make that up.
I just told him we had to go to the doctor. That was all that was said that Monday. But shit, we had the house fire and we both went back to sleep. We were both in the bed asleep.
What time did y'all wake up?
We got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
They had a house fire and they went back to sleep. Their adrenaline would probably be so high to have a house fire and they went back to sleep, right? Who does that?
It was a little bit before 3, actually. We put out the fire and we went back to we both went back to bed. We were laying in the bed.
Okay.
Did you call the hospital at all?
No, I did not call the hospital.
Not for the bomb threat, but did you call them at all for anything else?
No, High Speed, she wasn't. She couldn't get pregnant. She had a hysterectomy.
Yes or no? Did you call the hospital for anything else other than the bomb threat?
I did not call.
I'm not saying
The
you
bomb
did.
threat.
I'm not talking about the bomb threat. Did you call them for anything else that day?
I had called, trying to think what it's called. I got from my main number, about getting Maureen McKellar's, telephone number.
Oh, okay.
Just the main, you call the
576?
5. About saying who was on call. But I did not call in a bomb threat. I will say that now. I will say that fucking tomorrow. I will say it 20 years down the road. I did not call in a bomb
The phone number
threat.
you used that day was what?
My phone.
Which was it? 93?
903. My cell phone number.
So we'll be able to check the hospital records and they're gonna have that number.
Yes, I called from that
At
number.
what time did you call?
It was probably it was around 3 something.
3 a.m.?
Maybe. Yes. It was after we had done all the
Fire stuff?
yeah.
Why did you call? To see who was on call.
Because Wade was up then, and I knew because we had just had the house fire, I was gonna play it off like I was saying who was on call. Because we weren't gonna be going in. I didn't know anything about the fucking bomb threat, okay? Okay? I did not know anything about the fucking bomb threat.
Okay. Well, I'm not making it up.
Well, I'm just telling you. Just.
Okay. You can tell me that all you want.
Oh my god.
But I'm not making it up. Okay.
Okay.
In fact, I'm not making any of this shit up. Alright? There's a knife that was taken out of her neck. I'm not making that up.
I don't think you're making that up.
Okay? So,
But I don't remember doing
you
it.
can't talk about it. And I'm not making up the fact that your email is linked to the phone that called the bomb threat in. I'm not making that shit up.
My email?
Yeah, what is your email?
I have 2. gmail.com, and I got yahoo.com.
Which one is the one you use on your phone? What kind of phone do you have?
I have a Samsung Galaxy Note. I use both of them because one I
But-
use for like our
But on a Samsung phone, you have to have a Gmail account. So that's the one that your phone.
yeah, this is gmail.com. That's the one that's synced to my
Your Google account.
correct.
What was that one? The Yahoo? What was it?
At yahoo.com.
Well, the Gmail account is tied to the bomb
Oh,
threat.
dear fucking God.
So
Great.
I guess I should have told you what your email was because I already knew it. Because when the investigator called me about it, he said the email's too. I'm like, Taylor and Parker.
Yes, yes, that's my email.
Yeah. What's the 90 for? Because you're born in 92, right?
I've just always used 90. My code's 1990.
I know. Why is it 90? What's the significance about 1990? Or 90?
Well, 90 was my number played sports. I mean,
Okay. I'm just curious. Alright. So,
there must be significance about my.
I'm just trying to understand it, that's all. Not a big deal. So, when we left Reagan's house, do we know what direction of travel and all that stuff, what roads were used?
Yeah, when you left Reagan's house, how did you get from her house out to by Shelton's?
I went by the school.
Which side of the school? The tennis court side or the football field side?
I don't know enough about that school,
Okay.
honestly.
But you went by the
The
school.
one that goes by the hardware.
The Boston Hardware out there? Oh, the one out on 1840?
The one that goes by the square. Where the light is and stuff. where
Okay, yeah. Right there, like, that comes out by Maria's restaurant and all that.
Correct.
Okay. So, you came out from her house, like, if you back out her driveway, you back around to the right, you turn to the
You
left.
take right.
Well, hang on. So you would take if you back out of her driveway and you go back towards the school, like her house is in that 90-degree curve.
Is this like, this is.
Oh, let me fix this here. Is that the right house?
Yes.
Is that the right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, because this, alright, this
Is
is.
there no
Protect
driveway?
Property.
Oh yeah, she's on death row.
Head
Darlie
house.
Routier
Okay,
is there
so
too,
pull our
and
way down. I'm sorry, I really wanted it. Down here,
Okay.
zoom out, turn.
So you go by the tennis courts.
Okay, so I went by the tennis courts, keep going down. Okay, I went straight
Okay.
So you're
on right here,
82.
82.
Okay.
And did you drive anywhere else besides 82 to decaf?
No,
And did you stop anywhere?
no, I
No.
never stopped.
I never stop.
Alright. So that was. So you left Austin Street and north on South Elm Street? Basically drove north on
Yes.
Elm Street, all the way to 82.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, because I went down the little alley where it comes out by the music parlor.
Yeah. Behind the post office and all that.
Yes.
Alright.
Can I call my mom?
Yeah, we'll get you the phone calls in a minute. Give us a few minutes. You need anything right now? Alright, we'll step out. Give me just a few minutes and
Are they gonna feed me dinner? 'Cause I need
We're gonna make sure they have dinner for you, okay?
Dinner. What about dinner? I miss my dinner.
I'll be right back. Huh?
That's on the floor.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab it.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Did you pick my mask up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I please use the restroom?
Yes, we can do that. But first, I'm gonna ask for your consent for a DNA sample, which would be out of your cheek
Maybe
area.
somebody
Okay?
here kills me, it's on file.
Basically, but that's not what it's for. What this is consent for analysis. Today is the 14th, 10, 14, 20, that's 452.
Can you do me one favor?
What's that?
Can you see if they can get my medicine? Because I've been without my medicine for,
What medicine is that?
I take butopanol for my migraines. And then I have the Staloff France 2.5 milligrams. And I've been without it since I lost my insurance, so it's been about 5 to 6 weeks. And my head will not stop hurting.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what we can do about that, okay?
Please.
Alright, so I need you to read this real quick. This is consent for analysis.
They did that, just
Just
sign
sign
it for
it there,
you.
but it's being duly sworn or warned of all my constitutional rights, that's for the Miranda, okay? And of my rights under Texas law that I do not have to give consent for a sample of blood and or saliva to be taken from my body, and fully understanding that I do not have to give consent for a sample of blood and or saliva to be taken from my person. I hereby freely consent for a sample of blood and or saliva, which we're taking saliva, okay, to be taken from my person. I hereby freely consent for a qualified medical person to take a sample of blood. We're not doing that. We're just doing saliva from my body, and I hereby give this consent without fear, force, persuasion, delusive hope of pardon or coercion of any type. I understand that the sample of blood and or saliva to be taken from my person is for a DNA analysis, and the results from such tests may and will be used against me in prosecution of any criminal charges resulting from this investigation. This written permission is being given by me to the peace officers whose names are signed below as witnesses, voluntarily, without threats or promises. And it says, I, Taylor Parker, and you just signed it. You agree that we can have a specimen? Okay. Alright, got me as a witness. We'll put him as a witness.
If you pop it in the back, it's easier.
Alright. We both have caps on. We'll take the caps off.
Yeah.
And then swab the inside of your left side. I need to take your left fingers like this and push against your cheek, okay?
You want me to take my left fingers and push them?
Push against your cheek,
Okay.
open your mouth up. Alright, they're both together.
Okay.
And I'm gonna rub on the inside of your cheek. Try not to hurt you. Okay. Put these caps back on. Seal that up. Oh, I guess some tape. Okay. So, thank you. Wade, there's a couple things I need to clear up. You mentioned talking to a guy in Oklahoma about selling hogs to. Did you arrange that? And when did you arrange that?
It's been arranged for a few weeks.
And who'd you talk to?
Scott.
Scott who?
I don't know his last name.
Is that Oklahoma?
Yes.
So
Well, these are the
did you arrange
Texas
that?
Rangers, and they wear. These are the Texas Rangers guys, and they wear the white cowboy hats, just like New York State Troopers wear those big hats. These guys wear the white cowboy hats. They're Rangers. Do you remember in Athena Strand's case? Remember they had the cowboy hats? They're Texas Rangers.
It's been over a week, or it's been over.
On that Friday, what day prior to that Friday was it that you arranged that?
It had been 2 weeks prior to that, probably. Because we got rid of one set of hogs to Matt. And we were talking to Scott way prior to Matt.
Did Scott ever tell you that he did not need hogs at that time? He wanted hogs, but you weren't able to provide him with hogs when he needed them. Did he ever tell you that he didn't need them?
Yeah, because, well, no, he didn't say he didn't need them. He just said that the whole,
Uh-oh, sorry. I was trying to type in the chat.
I was trying to get a transport license. I mean, it doesn't look good if somebody from Texas try to get a transport license because you're not supposed to go over state line with them.
No, that's fine. But it happened, so it's illegal, but it happened.
But when he had messaged me back saying that he would go ahead and take them.
According to him, he told you he didn't want them because you couldn't provide them when he needed them. Is that not true?
No, it was just about the transport license. I talked to Nicole, and Nicole said we could get a transport license. We just had to have, I guess, give her like an Oklahoma address.
Okay. But you never got that?
No.
You never got the transport?
No, because he said we didn't need that. He didn't care about the transport license.
Well, I understood that he had talked to you about it, and then the deal kind of fell through.
I mean, no, I wasn't under the consideration it fell through because we were scheduled to go. He wanted them early Friday morning.
Okay. So you set that up? Yes?
Partial, yeah, and then Wade did the rest of it.
What does that mean?
Wade talked to him about bringing them, and that the check needed to go to him. Cause the last one, Matt wrote it to me and put it under Taylor Griffin, and he chewed my ass over it. That the check didn't go to him, so.
Okay. Alright, so,
I thought Wade told me on the phone Friday that Matt bought them.
that Matt bought them?
Yeah, that Matt bought his hogs.
And he called you on Friday?
Yeah, he told me that on the phone.
When?
Friday morning, he told me that he was going back and forth between Matt and Scott, but something about Matt had bought the hogs. That was the last thing I knew about
Who
it.
did we get the check on?
Side by side, no. Some extreme shooting sports or something.
That would be Matt.
Okay.
So he told you what time did he tell you that? On Friday?
He told me that Friday morning. I don't know what time.
That was before the murder?
Afterwards.
What was happening when he told you this in your world? What was going on in your world?
I was at the hospital.
Okay.
Or I was on the way to the hospital, and actually no, I was sitting with Amanda and that other lady in the car.
In whose car?
In Wade's car.
Okay.
Sitting with Amanda and the other lady.
In
With the
Wade's
DPS
car.
officer. With DPS Schaefer.
Shaver. D. Shaver. Okay. What was the other issue?
So who arranged, you arranged that, you got that deal started with the hogs and Wade took it over? Is
Yes.
that what, okay.
Yes.
It's not a big deal, we're not worried about the hogs. We're just trying to figure out where Wade was. So Wade
Such
said
a
that
sweetheart.
when he got there to the hog ranch, that the guy did not know he was coming and was mad that he showed up anyway with those hogs. And Wade claimed that you set all of this up, that he had nothing to do with it. You told him to go take these hogs up there. And
How much was he supposed to get for the hogs?
Like $6,100 from what I understood.
How much did he get?
I don't know. He never told me how much he got paid. How much you get paid for them?
Half of that.
yeah, less than half that.
Because they didn't need them.
Because they did not know he was coming with those hogs. And he said you set that deal up, he never talked to the guy.
He told me he talked to him Thursday night.
Thursday
When he
night.
talked to him tonight, the information he gave us at the time was you set it up and he made the trip. He showed up and the guy was shocked that he was there.
I talked to the guy on the phone and he said that he had already bought like 200 head of hogs that week because you couldn't deliver. And then Wade shows up with 100 and something more hogs and he had no idea he was coming.
Well, the last Wade told me on the phone was, I was under the assumption Matt bought his hogs. The one that bought our hogs prior.
But Wade did talk, did have transactions or whatever with the guy, communications with the guy prior to him going up there.
Yes, he told me Thursday night he had.
Okay. There was a car seat in Wade's truck. Who put that car seat in there?
Me and him Friday morning.
What time was that?
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
And why did you put the car seat in his truck Friday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I put the car seat in there. I put our bathing stuff and all that in there.
But why?
Because we were gonna go to Idabel.
And
Why were you going to Idabel?
I was gonna have a baby, but Reagan was gonna call him and we were gonna just say that I had lost it. That way I didn't have to.
So, You had Wade convinced this entire time you were pregnant.
Yes.
Okay. And Friday morning at 3 a.m., y'all arranged to deliver these hogs. Or he did, y'all did together, whatever. 4 hours away, 3 hours away up in Oklahoma.
That's where we've been going to
Right,
have
I
hogs
understand.
because prior
But
we
y'all
were in
arranged
South
that.
Texas.
And you had also arranged to be at Idabel Hospital at 7:30 Friday morning to have your made-up baby. You put a car seat in Wade's truck at 3 o'clock that morning. You had went to Walmart, from my understanding, and bought soap, clothes, nightgowns, pajamas, packed a diaper bag, and told Wade you were going to have this baby. When he unloaded the hogs, he was to meet you at the hospital, right or wrong?
Right.
You made the appointment in Idabel?
I had called and asked them, if somebody that was pregnant, Wade was there when I called at
When
the
was it?
house. That was Wednesday.
Okay, 2 days prior, you called and said what to the hospital?
Asked them if somebody from out of state or whatever had come in that was having contractions, would they take them as a patient? And they said yes, that they wouldn't turn anybody away.
Okay. So did you actually schedule an appointment for inducing up there or no?
No, we were just, she said all you had to do was go to the hospital and check in at admissions. You didn't have to have an appointment.
But you didn't necessarily make an appointment, but you called. She said you could just show up, and then you and Wade made an agreement.
I was actually gonna go with him.
But you and Wade made an agreement that when he left the house that morning, you were going to go at around 7:30 to the hospital, check in, start getting all that paperwork process going, because that's what he claimed. And then he was going to go drop these hogs off, pick the money up, and come meet you at the hospital.
Yes.
Okay.
How did you show up? How could you make those plans, first of all, without going to be induced for labor or for the baby?
I was gonna tell him I lost it.
Or be in labor, or have contractions. How could you just, hey, let's plan on doing this. This is on Wednesday, but Friday, let's go to the hospital because I'm going to be having contractions?
No, she said you could just show up. They wouldn't turn anybody away. That's why we picked
But
out.
you show up and you're not actually, if you were pregnant, you weren't actually in labor, what would they do?
They would take you to the floor and check you.
But, so what was you going to do then?
I was gonna have them send me away and tell Wade that I had lost the baby.
You were going to have who do that?
The hospital. Regardless, I worked in OB. So.
And you just weren't going to talk to Wade again? And you think the doctors were going to go out there and lie on your behalf like that?
It's confidentiality. I've seen plenty of doctors lie for patients.
So you worked in OB before?
But he's the daddy.
It's not
It
confidential.
doesn't matter. That's That's a HIPAA violation.
He's the father, though.
It doesn't matter. If a patient comes into a hospital,
And he said he lost the baby, that's his baby. He's got to have some information.
they will not give it.
Okay, they won't give the information. What was your plan after that? You're going to go in there, tell him I'm not pregnant, I've been lying to my boyfriend. Can y'all go out there and tell him that I lost the baby, and where were you going to go?
I was gonna leave and go home. I wasn't
With
even gonna
Wade?
have him. No, I wasn't even gonna have him meet me there. I was just gonna have him go straight home.
Okay. So it sounds to me like, and in my mind, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds to me like you set this appointment up for Wade to deliver these hogs, to get him out of the way, so either you could go make this lie up about losing the baby,
He
and
was
he...
to lose the baby.
Okay.
I didn't make it up though.
The whole thing was made up, Taylor.
You needed him out of town.
You needed him out of town so you could go. You were at a crucial moment in your 9 or 10 month life. You either had to have a baby or you had to have a miscarriage. You were at the end of the road.
But you chose to steal a baby.
You went to Reagan's house. You got Wade out of town. You left your house. You went and sat in the church parking lot. You drove to Reagan's house, beat her, and stole her baby, and was on your way to the Ida Bell Hospital with that baby so you could fulfill this year-long lie. And you haven't been truthful about that.
That's not what the plan was.
Reagan.
The plan changed.
So riddle me this. Tell me. Let's back up to when you showed up at Reagan's house. Y'all got into a fight in the garage. Right? As soon as you got there, she grabbed you, y'all got into a fight. That's what you told us. You said this was an entire fight. A fight was the entire time. But you also said, while you're talking to us, that she was talking on the phone to Homer, she was getting ready for work, she was late, she was fixing her hair, straightening it in the bathroom. Y'all were having like a girl's day, drinking coffee, whatever.
Drinking coffee.
But you've also said this was a fight the entire time. So I don't understand how y'all got into a fight, y'all got over it, fixing her hair, doing all this. She hit her head on her car, busted it on the concrete. She was bleeding, but then she went in there to fix her hair?
Oh, that was after.
Exactly. And then she was murdered. So y'all got into a fight, y'all made up, fixed her hair, did all that, and you murdered her? Is that what you're saying? Reagan, Taylor, you haven't been being truthful with us. There was a 3-year-old girl in the house that watched this. This family wants answers. And it's time for you to be truthful about what happened.
When I got there, she was in the garage. We were talking. She was folding Kenzie's clothes. She said that she had overslept. We walked back into the house. We were standing there in the hallway in the bathroom. That's when she had turned her straightener on. She was texting Homer and talking. She had said that I wasn't going to be going. I told her I needed to leave. She said, "You're not going anywhere." We walked out to the car and got my bags. We walked up the little driveway into the garage. The garage door was open. She was putting something else in the dryer. And I told her, I said, "I need to go. I don't need to be here right now." And that's when we started the argument and the fighting.
Why did you not need to be there right now? What's that about?
Because I wasn't right in my head.
Because you went over there with the intent to do what?
The whole intent was she told me that she would help me get out of the lie with Wade.
Your intent was what?
Wanting the baby.
Huh?
Wanting a baby.
Your intent was wanting her baby. Right?
You made sure that the hospital would take you in Ida Bell. You got Wade out of town. Wade was gone out of town. You made sure Reagan was at home by talking to her that morning. You went and sat in the church parking lot and contemplated if this was the right thing to do or not. You decided to go over there to her house, and when you got there, you had a scalpel in your purse. No normal person carries a scalpel around with them. Your intent was wanting a baby. Right or wrong?
You went to the house and intended on leaving with that child, were you not?
No, I didn't intend on leaving with
That's what you just said. Your intent was wanting a baby.
I wanted a baby. I've been wanting a baby for months.
Then why would you kill her and take her baby? Huh?
I didn't want to.
But why did you do it? Why did you kill her? Why did you kill her?
I don't want to see her.
Why did you kill her? And take her baby. Answer that question.
No, I don't want to see those. Please. Please, okay, I don't want to.
Look at me. You can't erase this.
Trust me, I
Right?
know it's in my head.
Her 3-year-old daughter witnessed this. She can't erase that. She has to see it. Why
Her
can't-
mother walked into this house. Jessica walks into this house and sees this. Okay?
The 3-year-old had to walk by that to get out of the house that you left there with her mother dead in the floor. How would you feel if your kids had to live with that memory?
So, look here. I need to show you something because I need an answer.
No, I don't want to look, please.
Okay? I can see you cut her belly open, right? I know that. But how? Explain this cut right here on her face. Explain.
That was done with a scalpel. That was determined by a doctor.
Explain it. That's only one of many cuts. Please explain it for me.
I don't remember. I don't want to look at it,
Okay.
please.
There's a knife, a scalpel in her neck.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Explain it.
I don't.
You were there. You did it. Why did you do it? Please explain.
Can you please don't lock me? Please.
Are you going to explain it?
I don't remember. Just slicing and dicing her, okay? I don't remember that part. I told you, but I remember.
You went there to take her baby. Did you not?
No.
You didn't? Then how the hell did this happen? If you didn't go there to take her baby.
Slicing and dicing her. She said slicing and dicing her. I don't remember slicing and dicing her. That's almost like a passive aggressive, like, it's just terrible what she just said. I remember my obstetrician said once with Luke, because he was in distress. He said it was almost a dash and slash or something to that effect. I think I put it in some baby book or something, but slice and dice, wow.
You made arrangements to take that baby to the hospital prior to doing it. You were headed to the hospital you made the arrangements at.
No, I made arrangements to go to a hospital and for them to see that I was not pregnant. That's what I made arrangements for.
But that's not what happened, and you were going to that same hospital. Tell me why you didn't take that baby to St. Michael's and why you were adamant to the state trooper and the paramedics to not take your baby to a hospital in Texas, not to take to St. Michael's or Titus Regional. Why were you so adamant to get out of state?
because I've gone to St. Michael's and thought it.
It doesn't matter. There was a baby laying in your arms lifeless. You were 20 minutes from St. Michael's. You were an hour from Idabel. But you went there and cut that baby out of her, and you felt like you could not go to St. Michael's or you would be caught. You lied to the state trooper. You had every opportunity to tell him that this lady was laying in that house with that done to her, and you didn't do it. She laid there and bled out, and her 3-year-old watched it. Why?
Wrong with me.
Because why?
Something's wrong with you.
And what's wrong with you? You took that 3-year-old's mother, her baby sister, everything. Why did you go to that house that morning to take that baby?
When did you decide to target this woman?
Ever.
At Brookshire's, when you met her? Well, you befriended her pretty quickly, again. Reacquainted, whatever you want to call it.
She's been talking to me.
Reconnected.
I didn't target Reagan. Reagan started talking to me.
Okay. When did you decide that she had what you needed?
After we had already fought. I told you what my plan was. But y'all can paint whatever picture you want.
You can't tell me this woman said, "Take my baby and leave," and expect me to believe that.
I swear to God she did. I'd take a polygraph test.
Oh my God.
You took this lady's wedding photos. You took her family pictures. You took pictures of her 3-year-old. This lady trusted you. She trusted you that morning to let you in her house. You went to her house with a diaper bag, went in her house with a diaper bag and a scalpel. You went in there to take that baby. The diaper bag had what you needed for the baby, and the scalpel was what you needed to take the baby. You made arrangements to go to the hospital. You had Wade out of town where you needed him. So what looks like, so you could call and say, "Hey, I had the baby, I'm going to the hospital." You got your baby. Wade believed you. You proved all these people wrong that said you were lying for the last 10 months. And you had your aha moment at the expense of that. You had the "I proved y'all wrong" moment.
Please go to the bathroom.
Yep. I'd like for you to discuss, where we're going with this.
How far do you think?
What other questions?
I don't have any. Why did you tell the trooper on the side of the road and the EMTs that was your baby? Tell me that. Because I've watched that video, and that's the most horrific video I've ever watched in my life. Why did you tell that trooper that was your baby? Why did you go to the hospital and pass that baby off as yours? Why did you tell Wade that was your baby if it was not your intent to go take that baby?
I got a baby.
Because what?
Because you had got a baby. That was your intent that day, was to get a baby.
It wasn't though. Tell you that top blew in the face.
You had got a baby. So let me ask you this, you had got the baby. At what point did you realize that day, I've got a baby, Wade gets to believe me, all his family, we get to prove them wrong and show them that I was really pregnant. At what point, because I know that crossed your mind, at what point did that cross your mind? Was it while you were still there butchering that lady, or was it after you left the house? Do what? You had left and you realized that you got to prove all these people wrong and tell Wade that you had his baby girl. Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're telling me, Taylor?
Oh, please, come to the bathroom.
Can you answer that question real quick? Because I only got one more question. And then we're done. Answer the question.
Is that a yes or a no? Is that what you're telling me? You realize after you got the baby and you left, that's what you just said, you get to tell Wade and prove all these people wrong that you had this baby girl that was a lie for 10 months.
Y'all are gonna paint it how we all want to see it. Okay.
There's no other way to
It's your
paint it.
story. You tell us.
I know it's painted right here. I know it's painted right there. At what point did that cross your mind? You said when you left the house. You knew that you had filled this entire lie that had went on for all these months. Gender reveal.
I didn't think about that one fucking thing until I was at the hospital. I was thinking about the baby the entire time.
Why did you lie to the trooper on the side of the road? This lady could still have been alive. You said she was alive and talking to you when you left the house. You had just left. Why did you not tell that state trooper? Because you had guilt.
Why did you tell the trooper the baby was yours?
Why did you go tell a doctor at the hospital the baby was yours? Why did you have maternity photos taken a few weeks ago? Why did you have a gender reveal? Why did you have a baby registry at Target? Why did you have a nursery set up in your house ready for this baby to come home?
I intended on losing it. Is what I intended.
Why did we get this far in this lie? Why did this go this far?
You shouldn't have.
But why did it? Nobody knows that but you. And I promise you there's millions of people out there that want to know that answer. Why in the month of July, you were asking other mothers about C-sections on Facebook?
Because I had lied and told Wade that the doctor thought I was going to have a C-section.
Why did you tell people you had home health at your house? Why were you walking around for several days on oxygen?
Because I had gone to the doctor because my D timer was high. I've had a pulmonary embolism.
Okay, so you
So
put
do
on
your research and see what my health
You
is
put it on
doing.
Facebook that it was for the baby and you had home health coming to take care of you. Not that it was for a pulmonary embolism. You put it that it was complications for a baby that didn't exist.
Right? Right? Right.
Somebody had asked me about that update on the baby, so I had added the baby in there. It was for me. I've been seeing Dr. Hayes and Hazen, an oncologist and a cardiologist for my heart.
Okay, so why did we change that from I'm having heart issues to I'm having baby problems? Can anybody tell me how bad a C-section is? Why did we do that?
I just asked.
Why? You're the only person that knows that.
Wow.
Taylor.
I asked a question, okay? That you asked me why.
You're so
I asked the question.
You're so close to telling us what really happened that day. You really are. And I know you are. But for some reason, you just won't do it. You've told us that you called the hospital, you arranged to have an appointment to have this baby.
I didn't arrange to. You can't make an appointment for it.
You called the hospital and inquired.
To make an appointment.
It's not funny. It's really not funny. Is that funny?
I'm not looking at it.
Okay, but you're
So I'd
laughing.
appreciate if you got it out of my face.
You got
Please.
Wade out of town. You told him you were going to have this appointment at 7:30 because he believed you set up an appointment. And you drove to this lady's house and did this and headed to the hospital with that baby before Wade could get back in town. Why did you do that? You took a scalpel. Why did you take a scalpel with you?
I always have a scalpel and a nylon thread suture. We've always had that. Wade carries it around in his fucking truck. Does it mean he's gonna chop somebody up?
No, that's
Please
in his
answer that
truck.
question.
That's in his truck. He didn't take it in a house with a murder scene. He didn't take it in a house where it was shoved down somebody's neck. Answer that question.
The train just sounds so eerie now, doesn't it? And the clock.
Please go to the bathroom.
One more thing. You're going to see, not today, but one day, you're going to see Reagan's mother. You're going to see Homer. If you could see them right now, what would you tell them?
I'm sorry for what I did.
Are you?
Yes.
And why?
I've never hurt anybody, okay?
And why are you?
Never.
Why are you sorry?
Because Ray was such a good person, I should.
What
It
would
should
you?
have never happened. I should have never lied.
That's true. My question was, what would you do different?
Never lied.
You didn't answer it. Anything else?
Why, when y'all had the fight and you saw that she was down and out, for lack of better terms, and she told you she knew she was gonna die, you had a cell phone at that house. Why did you not call for help? Explain that. Instead of calling for help for her and that baby, you cut the baby out of her. And in your mind, you thought you could make it to the Idabel Hospital with that baby and potentially, like you said a while ago, prove everybody wrong. You had this baby, and you got to live happily ever after with her baby. Why did you not call for help?
Wish I would have.
Why did you not?
I can't answer that.
Can you answer the fact that, did you know she needed help? Did Reagan need help? Yes or no? That's easy. Did Reagan need help? Yes or no?
Sí or no?
If it's easy, why would you ask me?
Oh my
Answer
God.
the question, because I need to hear how you're thinking. Did Reagan need help?
I should have helped her.
Did she need help?
Beyond what you could provide.
Yes or no?
Come on, lady.
Did Reagan need help? Yes or no?
Please be done.
We're done, but did Reagan need help? Yes or no? Did she need help, Taylor?
Hi,
Are you a
Amy.
monster?
Should have helped her.
You should have helped her. But did she need help beyond what you could help her with? Okay? What about the baby? Did the baby need help? That you couldn't provide her? But could you provide help with that baby? The help that she needed to survive?
No, I couldn't help. Couldn't do it myself.
But why didn't you call 911 from the house? From Reagan's house?
I don't know.
Because you needed to leave?
You needed to get to Idabel to fulfill your year-long lie and fantasy of having Wade's baby girl. That's what you needed. Is that not what you needed? Because it sure looks like that's what you chose.
I would have never lied.
I just want to know one thing. How did you ever think that this plan was going to work out without you getting caught? How did you think this was ever going to work?
I never planned on doing this.
At the point that it happened,
I knew
And-
I was gonna be caught.
and you said you told me you got to prove everybody wrong. You had this baby girl that you wanted to have and lied about having. When you were driving to the hospital not getting that baby medical attention, how did you think this was ever going to work out?
Wasn't.
Then why did you think it was? Why did you do what you did? That's what we want to know. Why you did what you did.
I don't know why I did it. I don't.
I don't have anything else.
Alright, I'm done. 5:40 p.m. We'll get you to the restroom. We'll get you booked in. We do need to get some, if you don't mind, some fingerprints from you up here.
If you don't
We'll get
mind.
you to the restroom first and then get you printed, okay?
Like she has a
And then we're probably
choice.
gonna print you in
If you don't
jail
mind.
too, okay? So, alright, it's 5:40. We are done. We gonna
No,
let
not
you
at all,
after
B lady.
that, and after the fingerprint, you probably gotta put that on you. Go ahead and grab your mask.
Can I go with this?
Bring that with you?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. Beyond that, hang on a minute. I just, hold on, where did I just put that? Where did I just put this? Okay. She has a bunch of stuff that she's done. I think this, let's see where this is from. Taylor Parker. This is State of Texas versus Taylor Parker, a.k.a. Taylor Morton, a.k.a. Taylor Wacasey. And this is from 8/17/2022, and it's the first supplement to Notice of Intent to Use Extraneous Offenses. So, hold on, let me get this so I can talk to you here. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this. This is a big dot, but I want to just get to what she did here. Okay, so hang on. 1 second. It's opening up. Okay. So this is the extraneous offenses and or prior convictions which the state intends to introduce at trial according to the rules, blah, 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 is the first one here is A. That Taylor Parker, a.k.a. Taylor Morton, a.k.a. Taylor Wacasey, hereinafter sometimes the defendant or Taylor Parker, on or about October 9th of 2020 in Bowie County, Texas, the defendant did commit the offense of capital murder as charged in the indictments. And so that, of course, is the capital murder, right? To carry out her crimes as part of her ongoing deception and fraudulent behavior, she held herself out as being pregnant from on or about January of 2020 through October 9th, 2020. She underwent a permanent sterilization procedure on January 24th of 2014 and a total abdominal hysterectomy on or about August 4th of 2015. The defendant was physically unable to bear children. Prior to the fake pregnancy with Clancy Gale, that's what she named the fake baby, in January 2020, she had faked several prior pregnancies. Did you know that? Including a fake pregnancy with Hunter Parker, 2 fake pregnancies between Hunter Parker and Wade Griffin, and a fake pregnancy with twins when she first met Wade Griffin. With the Clancy Gale pregnancy, she used various social media platforms, more than one cell phone, and fabricated supporting evidence and documentation. During one of the fake pregnancies, she told Donnie Wacasey that she was pregnant. Donnie asked the defendant how it's possible the defendant was pregnant, and the defendant said, "It's a miracle. All my stuff grew back." When the defendant was with Hunter Parker, she told Abby Bell and Mackenzie Bright that she miscarried twin girls. The defendant wanted Abby and Mackenzie to act as a surrogate for her after the miscarriage. The defendant told Abby and Mackenzie that she would take care of all the details, set up the doctor's appointments, and take care of everything. And she told Bright that she was going to be coming into money when her grandmother, Peggy, died. And she said she was going to use that money that was given to her by Peggy to pay the surrogacy fee. As part of her fake pregnancy, she would post ultrasound photographs on social media and make claims of sickness during pregnancy and would tell everyone how excited she is she's going to have a baby. Excerpts from the defendant's extensive social media search warrant returns are reproduced. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce a complete and total copy of the defendant's social media and her search history and or location history and or Google history, Google IMEI, or any other relevant content in this trial in this case. The defendant also searched extensively for her victim. She used Google to research different hospitals, clinics, stores of locations where pregnant women and or infants could be located. She would search out places potential victims were likely to be found, and she traveled to these locations. She searched and went to Paris, Texas, Texarkana, Texas, Mount Pleasant, Shreveport, Louisiana, Hope, Arkansas, Idabel, Oklahoma, and other places searching for a potential victim. The defendant conducted extensive online research into vaginal and C-section births, the requirements to become a midwife, how to register a home birth, the complete and total search warrant returned from Google, and then it has a bunch of emails. She had a bunch of different emails, and all those emails show the extensive research and planning on the part of the defendant. The defendant also had Yahoo email accounts. The state of Texas hereby gives notice to the intent to introduce the information from each and every one of the defendant's email accounts. Below are some excerpts, but the state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce a complete and total copy of the relevant online searches made by the defendant from on or about January 2020 through on or about October 9th, 2020, including the times, the dates, the locations of her searches for a potential victim, and the locations throughout all those places we went to, okay? All right, so now the cell phone tower data, they're going to get all of that. The search warrant returns for the following social media accounts. She had a bunch of different accounts, okay? She had a Snapchat account with a name, an Instagram account with a name, Facebook Messenger with multiple names. And then she had fictitious characters, and they were Mandy Boyd, Mandy Body, Shelley Lynx, Bill Prefert, Brant Prefert, John Reynolds, Linda Hall, Lisa from the bank. This is really what it says. I'm not kidding. This is legal for the trial. Brian at DNZ, Uncle Butch, Tony Hammonds. This sounds like very Letitia Stout, right, with all the people? Buddy Roser, Tim Hightower, Taylor's sister, attorney John Mark Coburn. Sounds very official, right? Blake Livingston, Landon Bassett, all of which are attributable to the defendant. Text or voice messages, and she has multiple numbers. And then, again, those she has a Bill Prefert, Uncle Butch. She has fake Mark Morton, Kathy Frost, and then she has fake Katie Jo Milhorn, fake Mark Morton, Uncle Pat, Jada, and then text messages between the defendant and other individuals that were recovered in the investigation. And it says that are complete records from the First National Bank of Hughes Springs, Texas Credit Union, Millway Federal Credit Union, and the Red River Federal Credit Union. Okay. Now, the next thing, Taylor Parker, a.k.a. Taylor Morton, a.k.a. Taylor Wacasey, hereinafter, the defendant or Taylor Parker repeatedly and continuously engaged in welfare and benefits fraud, which is a felony offense, beginning from on or about December 17, 2010 through about October 9, 2020. The defendant misrepresented certain facts and failed to report certain facts that resulted in the defendant receiving benefits and or welfare greater than that she was lawfully entitled. The defendant, at a minimum, repeatedly and continuously, pursuant to a continuing criminal episode or scheme, reported a series of lies that include but are not limited to lies about her personal finances, lies about household finances, lies about total household income, lies about bogus health conditions including pregnancy, lies about persons living in the household, lies about her marital status to qualify for these benefits. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce the complete set of records produced by Texas Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, so it's going to go through that, what she did there. The defendant has been incarcerated in the Bowie County, Texas jail since her extradition from the state of Oklahoma on or about October 14, 2020. Since her arrival at the jail, she has repeatedly and continuously engaged in criminal behavior, violations of jail policy, and has continued her fraudulent pattern of lying and misrepresenting most all aspects of her medical history and medical status. The defendant has access to an email kiosk and the jail telephone system. Defendant also discusses her bogus medical claims on those jail emails, telephone calls, and jail letters. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce the defendant's statements regarding her bogus medical status and any other matter recovered through the email system, the jail telephone system, and the defendant's jail letters. The state of Texas also gives notice of intent to introduce a complete copy of the defendant's medical and mental health records in addition to the medical records in states. Notice of intent to use extraneous offenses. The state also intends to introduce a complete copy of the defendant's medical records by the Wadley Hospital, Paris OBGYN, Pulmonary and Internal Medicine of Texarkana, McCurtain County Memorial Hospital, Longview Wellness Point, LifeNet, and turnkey medical records from the Bowie County Jail. The medical care providers of the state that the state intends to call are at the jury trial in this matter may include but are not limited to Kelly Dean, Marlon Ibey, Claire Spivey, Cassidy Pulse, Dr. Lewis, April Colvin, Melissa Deal, Gatelin, Jessica Happ, Makisha Parrish. Okay, it goes through a bunch of things. Okay. The defendant insisted on having an oxygen tank in her jail cell, an oxygen tank, at the Bowie County Jail. And then when she would be observed from the jail staff not using the oxygen, subsequent medical testing revealed that the defendant was not in need of assistance of oxygen. The defendant has engaged in repeated violations of jail policy by having her mother, Shona Pryor, put money on other inmates' commissaries' accounts to avoid paying Bowie monies that Parker owes for her medical bills. See, she's a shyster even in there, right? She's having the mother put her commissary on someone else's thing. The policy of the jail is a portion of each inmate's account will be garnished, and the money that is recovered from the garnishment will be put towards whatever money that inmate owes. As of February 2022, Taylor Parker owes $2,260 to Bowie County for medical expenses. Parker repeatedly tells her mother to put the money on other inmates' accounts, and as payment, Parker and her mother buy commissary items for the inmates. The inmates receive the commissary paid for by Parker's mother and then give the commissary to Parker. From on or about August 2021 through about April-May 2022, Shona Pryor, acting at Taylor Parker's direction, ordered commissary items under the names of several inmates. Those inmates included but are not limited to Christina Merrill, Christina Johnson, Tammy Moore, Oriah Prentice, Jessica Telford, Ashley Moreland, Miranda Stetler, Brittany Strange, Whitney Walls, Kelsey Craddock. The defendant has access to an email kiosk and the jail telephone system. Defendant also discusses her schemes and scams on the jail, on these jail emails and telephone calls. She also discusses, hold on a minute, her schemes and scams in jail letters. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce the defendant's statements regarding her fraudulent schemes and scams and any other matter recovered through the email system and the jail telephone system and the letters written out by the defendant. The defendant repeatedly and continuously rips up or modifies her jail clothing. Modifies it, right? Then she complains about it to her parents. The defendant will ask her parents to send her money for new jail clothes. On or about January 5th, 2022, the defendant is talking about the correctional officers to her dad. She writes to John Morton, "I'm in lockdown from yesterday till Friday because we have the shite crew, so not able to call until Friday. Was trying to see if you were able to put money on my books. I need to get new warm clothes. I've had mine for a year, holes in the front of them." She failed to tell her father that she rips the shoulders and necks out of her jail clothing so that her clothes are more revealing. On or about January 6, 2022, Parker tells her dad, "Thank you for the money," and tells him that she's ordering the new clothes with the money. On or about January 28, 2022, the defendant tells Shona that she needs new clothing because her shirts have holes in them. The defendant fails to mention to her mother that the shirts have holes in them because she tries to alter her jail clothing to appear more provocative. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of the intent to introduce photographs of the defendant's altered jail clothing. Each time the defendant logs onto the jail email kiosk, the kiosk takes the defendant's photograph. These photographs reveal that the defendant's clothing has been intentionally altered. The state of Texas hereby provides notice of intent to introduce these photographs at the trial, okay? The shite crew refers to the correctional officers who apply the jail procedures and security measures equally to Taylor and not give her any special treatment. The defendant has been incarcerated at Bowie County, Texas since her extradition from the state of Oklahoma, October 14, 2020. Since her arrival, she has repeatedly and continuously maintained multiple romantic relationships with other inmates. Did you guys know all this about her? The defendant alters her jail clothing so it's more revealing. She makes attempts to flirt with other inmates and maintains various jailhouse romances. Several individuals have observed the defendant with her altered jail clothing and exposed shoulders, including but not limited to Marlon Eby. The defendant has disclosed the details of this case, including possible alternative perpetrator theories with Lana Addison. On or about September 24, 2021, Parker told a provider she was lonely and that she was tired of being around all females. Parker has sought and maintained several romantic relationships during her incarceration at the Bowie County Jail. These relationships, in addition to the relationship with female inmate Lana Addison, included relationships with male inmates Travis Blocker and Adam Post. She is also writing inmates from other correctional facilities, busy girl, such as Alan Pauly and Augustine Diaz. The state of Texas hereby provides notice of intent to introduce the defendant's statements and communications with these individuals. Taylor has her friends and family get into contact with potential romantic interests. For example, on or about September of 2021 and continuing for months, Parker starts asking her family to contact her boyfriends. On or about September 2nd, 2021, Parker sends a jail email to Shona Morton saying, "Please do me a favor, look up Travis Blocker on Facebook. He wants me to call him when I got my kiosk working, but I trashed his number by accident. He was a trustee here but went home. Kirkland, his trustee buddy, left for SAFP yesterday, so I can't get it from him. Just say Parker got her kiosk. What's your email? He will give it to you." Then it says on or about September 2021 through about January of 2022, Parker uses jail phone calls and jail email to contact friends and family about arranging communications with Travis Blocker. On or about September 12, 2021, the defendant is again emailing Christina Merrill, "I need a sugar daddy to load me some money on this darn thing. LMAO. Anything on Blocker, aka Travis, is Brad Obedeski from Sims, she asks. Okay. Text him to add me so I can talk to him, or message me on Facebook, please. I miss you bunches. I'm lonely. I hate this. In January of 2022, the defendant sends her mother a message for her mother to pass to Travis Blocker. On or about September 13th, 2021, Parker's again sending emails to Christina Merrill and says, have you Facebook Travis Blocker yet? Will you do that this week for me? Also, text Brad. Tell him to add me on jail ATM.com or Facebook. I need some men to talk to. I wrote that when you told me the pen pal, it's boring, arse hell, and lonely. Oh, and about September 24th, 2021, Parker told the provider that she was lonely and was tired of being around all females. Parker has sought and maintained several relationships during her incarceration at the Bowie County Jail. These relationships, in addition to the relationship with female inmate Lana Addison, include relationships with male inmates Travis Blocker and Adam Post. She is also writing inmates from other correctional facilities, such as Alan Pauly and Augustine Diaz. Taylor has had her friends and family get in contact with them. Okay, so she tells them to look them up, blah, 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 blah. It's going to go through that again. We don't need to go through that again. Let's see what else she does. Okay, on or about December 15th, 2021, Taylor is exchanging jail emails with Alan Pauly. Pauly asks Taylor why she's in jail. And Parker replies, unfortunately, I can't talk details, information-wise, since I'm in pre-trial. I don't go to trial until 2022 September. I'm innocent. Assuming you have been to jail before, you know how unjust our BS system is. Parker also writes, it does suck but I have a great team. I have become very close with him and have all the faith that it will work out. I do freelancing, recruiting for manufacturing, industrial plants in the killed trade departments on top breeding and selling cattle. You can say I'm a farm girl. Please don't think I want anything from you. I'm a very independent, respectful person. On or about November 5th, 2021, Taylor and Augustine Diaz were in an inmate in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice had become romantically involved and exchanged sexually explicit letters. The state of Texas gives notice of intent to introduce the letters written by the defendant and exchanged with Diaz and others at the trial of this case. Okay. Excerpts of the sexually explicit letters exchanged are reproduced in this notice. All right, let's see what we got here. However, the state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce each and every letter written from the defendant and each of her jailhouse love interests, including Diaz. On December 24th, 2021, the defendant asked Diaz if he has a jail ATM system he can use so they can exchange electronic messages. The defendant adds, I thought of that this morning in the shower, dirty mind. In other writing dated December 24th, 2021, the defendant writes Diaz, I'm going to snuggle down with my book. If you keep me warm at night, I definitely wouldn't mind a poke, just saying. I'm very reserved, and I'm one to leave our private bedroom time to us only, but, honey, I'm a freak, just saying. You and that manly mind, LOL. The defendant goes on to explain that her ex used to call her fat or say she disgusted him. She said if I gained an ounce, he'd hit me. It broke me, really, more my heart than anything. So if you don't like big arse thighs, we won't work, darling. So she tells Diaz she values honesty. Please, she says, I have said this before. I'm so understanding. Just don't lie to me. She lies like crazy. She explains her devotion to him and says, I'd love to build a home and a family with you on God, based on God. That's a dream and a hope I will hold on to and pray. She wants Diaz to know how serious she is about him. She says, I would never play someone's emotions. Games are not for me. I will voice that loud and effing clear. I want to plan for the future. The defendant shares with Diaz, I love to read, but my true joy is writing. I love every part of putting together a story. She explains she's a good singer, and a few venues have wanted her to sing before. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. I have not heard any of this before. Have you guys? She says that she would love to play around with it at home on a home system database. In another letter, the defendant writes, I gotta tell you this. So E says, Parker girl, I got some much needed D this weekend. She told me all about it, showed me the bruises. I said, dang, you released the tension beast. We were rolling. I said, get some bruises for me too, please. LMAO. I told her I was so sexually frustrated if I won, I'd be humping the light poles all the way home. She says, I'm going to pray until then, take advantage of those dreams, LMAO. I about fell off the chair at the table, had to tell you about funny moment. Okay, on or about December 3rd, 2021, Taylor Parker discusses the scheme to order the commissary under another inmate's name to avoid paying her medical bills, and she asked her mother about contacting another man for her, and she says, wish I had someone to order under, but I don't. I know we talked about this a few months back. Will you message Justin Clark and see if he's open to messaging me or writing? Please, Mom, so I have someone to talk with? He won't be ugly. He knows you're my mom. If he says no, that's okay. It's his right, but I doubt he will. Please. Shona replies, there are hundreds of Justin Clarks on Facebook, and I'm not going to message anyone in a relationship. I'm sorry you don't have anyone to talk with. Taylor Parker refuses to let it go. She tells her mother, I respect that. Do not message if he's in a relationship. Of course, you are right. Look on Cody Bright's Facebook. If there's a Justin Clark from Stevens, Arkansas, if it shows he is not in a relationship, please message him. Cheyenne Bright, Cody's sister, wrote me a letter and said she had asked Cody about me. That's what caused me to want to reach out to him. I would rather someone in my family reach out to him than someone not 100% reliable. On or about January 4th, 2022, the defendant is telling her mother messages she wants to pass to Travis Blocker, a jailhouse boyfriend. She writes, got a note from Blocker. They're moving him to the annex. He says he wants to stay in touch and said to have you add him. He will add money to his kiosk to message. So when you get home and settled tonight, add Travis Blocker on the jail ATM. Message him and say, you're my mom. And when he wants to send me messages, do it to you and you can forward to me. But then I'll write him through mail. Parker adds another note for her mother to forward to Blocker later that day, saying, send tonight, please. Hey, mean mugger. So we can message back and forth. I know you suck at keeping your or hearing your scream, babe. I love you down the hallway. Too bad you didn't refuse to go. By the time I tried to get you a note, you were gone. So did they tell you why they wouldn't let you be a trustee this time around? Did you evade arrest? I think Bowie County is full of shite. FYI, don't be writing about your perverted dreams. I would hate for my mom to read that, what you're thinking about her daughter, LMAO XOXO. On or about January 31st, 2022, that if Ed tries to get her father to send Travis Blocker messages, she writes, do me a favor tonight and look up inmate Travis Blocker on this app. Message him and say, Parker said to tell you to message you if he wants to message me. Okay, the defendant has been incarcerated in Bowie County. Blah, blah, blah. She's repeatedly and continuously engaged in criminal behavior since her arrival, including a massive fraudulent scheme directing at fabricating evidence, tampering with witnesses, and ultimately framing a mentally fragile inmate named Hannah Hollander for the crime. The scheme also involved Hannah Shonery Yeager, Sylvia Plunkett, Kaylee Bromsey, Lana Addison, Phyllis Dawson. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce at trial each and every letter, note, or document relevant to the scheme perpetrated by Parker. Below is a summary of the scheme and some excerpts. Okay. On or about January 2021, year 2021, Hannah Hollander, an inmate at Bowie County, submitted writings to jail staff that were pertinent to the homicide case involving Taylor Parker. Law enforcement personnel interviewed Hannah at Bowie County Jail and discovered a twisted and extremely complicated plot developed by Taylor Parker to ultimately implicate Hollander in these crimes and exonerate Parker. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce the documents, notes, and/or letters provided to law enforcement by Hannah, including but not limited to the handwritten notes outlining what Hollander's witness statement was supposed to say. Parker provided details of the murder to Hollander and had Hollander write out those details in a fabricated witness statement. Hollander told law enforcement the letter was not true, and the information contained in the letter was provided by Taylor Parker. Parker told Hollander to tell the police that Hollander observed a black car with wheels and occupied with a black male making drug drops around the jail. Hollander was to tell the police the black car was the same vehicle that Hollander had seen at the murder scene. Hollander was to give her false witness statement to C.O. Bradley and then request an interview with law enforcement. Hollander's interview to law enforcement was supposed to corroborate her fake witness statement and the confession. In the jailhouse conversations with Hollander, Taylor Parker revealed what actually happened during the murders. Parker said she went to Hancock's residence the night before the murder, and the two had gotten into an argument. Parker said that Hancock knew that Parker had been faking a pregnancy and was past her due date. Parker said, Parker asked Hancock to call Wade Griffin on the morning of October 9th and pretend to be an attending nurse to Parker. Hancock was supposed to tell Griffin that Parker had lost the baby while Griffin was handling hogs, but Hancock backed out and refused to call Griffin. Parker told Hollander she was in possession of a bag with medical equipment in it. Parker used a scalpel, a knife, and a jar to kill Reagan Hancock. Parker removed the baby from Reagan and put the baby on the couch to attempt CPR. Parker said she watched Reagan die and then left the residence with the baby. Parker said it didn't really go as planned. Parker also told Hollander about hiding the evidence and fleeing to Idabel, Oklahoma. Parker's plan was to tell them she just gave birth and then take the baby home to her boyfriend and tell Griffin the baby was theirs. Hollander also reported that she was afraid of Parker because of Parker's inability to manipulate COs and other inmates. Hollander believed that Parker would hurt her if given the chance. On January 28, 2021, Special Agent Briscoe Davis interviewed inmate Shawnee Yeager at the Bowie County Jail. According to Yeager, there was a 13-page handwritten document given to her by Taylor Parker in a sealed envelope, and Parker asked Yeager to get the document to the Texarkana Gazette newspaper because Yeager was formerly employed by the newspaper. The document was an elaborate story detailing the events leading up to and including the murder of Reagan Hancock and kidnapping of Braxton Hancock. Parker gave the letter to Yeager and told Yeager that Hollander had given the letter to Parker. The defendant claimed not to have read the letter. The defendant said asked Yeager to copy the letter in Yeager's own handwriting and then destroy the original. Taylor Parker also writes a document addressed to Mama Sylvia, who was determined to be an inmate, Sylvia Plunkett. In this document, Parker denies committing the murder and accuses authorities of fabricating or withholding evidence which would prove Parker's innocence. Parker claimed to not be able to remember what happened on my way home, referring to the time period of the murders, but also claims law enforcement and authorities are withholding information about this same time period. Parker doesn't remember. A comparison of the 13-page confession and the document addressed to Sylvia may appear to be in different handwriting. However, the state has learned during the course of the investigation that Parker is known to practice altering her handwriting style. In fact, a comparison of known samples of Parker's handwriting shows a wide degree of variation. The state believes the letters were authored by Parker. The defendant offered money to inmates to assist her in carrying out these fraudulent schemes. The defendant offered Yeager $5,000 to get documents to the newspaper. The defendant offered Phyllis Dawson $15,000 to take an envelope out of the jail and get the envelope to the newspaper. Tampering with a witness is a felony offense in the state of Texas, even while incarcerated. Parker continues to engage in criminal activity by deceiving and manipulating other criminals into committing crimes for Parker, with the expectation of being paid large sums of money that Parker does not have. On February 11, 2021, former inmate Phyllis Dawson was interviewed by Texas Department of Public Safety Special Agent Briscoe Davis. Dawson was in possession of another letter from the same fictitious DC addressed to Sylvia. Dawson told the Special Agent Davis that Taylor Parker said DC was a detective for Texarkana and who was helping her out, so nothing bad would happen to Parker and that Parker was going to get out. Parker asked Dawson to write a letter to DC, which Dawson said he had done, and that DC had not written her back. Dawson said Parker asked her to send letters off to the newspaper and jail. Dawson turned over a sealed envelope containing a 10-page confession letter which had been given to her by Taylor Parker. Parker had recruited Dawson to take this letter and mail it out once Dawson was released from jail. The 10-page confession letter wants another variation of the 13-page confession which was given to Yeager by Parker. Both detail a similar course of events leading up to the murder. Both have a theme of blaming someone else for the murders and portraying Parker as an innocent victim. The 10-page confession again deals and details a chain of events entirely inconsistent with the evidence in the case, but does contain some specific details of the murder, again, which have not been released to the public and would only be known by someone with personal knowledge. Dawson also turned over a puzzle book that held numerous papers written within the pages of the puzzle book, with instructions similar to instructions located elsewhere, which direct the recipient on where to send certain documents for Parker. These instructions were copied into the book by Dawson at the direction of Parker. There were other notes written in the book, authored by Parker. Those writings are instructions from Parker to Dawson, telling Dawson to find someone to lie to the police for Parker. It includes, that's like, what's her name? Corey Richens, right? With those letters, right? So I don't even realize it. It includes a direct script of what the fake witness is supposed to tell law enforcement. The script is meant to go along with the letter. It coincides with the contents of both the 13-page confession and the 10-page confession, but is intended to introduce an eyewitness to corroborate the details in the confession letter. Parker writes, "Be smart, Granny. Pick someone smart who will bring the details to life. Once it's done, and Detective Chris says, I will mail you $500, a document recovered from Lana Addison at the Bowie County Jail contains a detailed description of Parker's fraudulent scheme and what evidence and witnesses Parker plans to use to exonerate himself. Parker gave Addison instructions not to turn over the master plan to law enforcement. However, law enforcement ended up recovering the document from a search of Addison's cell. Parker believes the discovery of new evidence will be enough to release her from jail and dismiss her charges. Parker names Hannah Hollander. Where am I? Where the heck? Where did I just lost my place? Hannah Hollander. Where the heck is Hannah Hollander? Okay, wait a minute. Okay. As the suspect, and Shauna Yeager, Kaylee Bromsey, Lana Addison are set to be the witnesses. The defendant would attempt to get other inmates, including but not limited to Kaylee Bromsey and Lana Addison, to discover evidence at various locations in Bowie County, turn the evidence over to law enforcement. The scheme relied on inmates playing their parts and following through on fabricating statements and discovering evidence. Law enforcement recovered a series of letters and/or notes that are believed to be authored by Taylor Parker. Inmate witnesses such as Shauna Yeager and Kaylee Bromsey and others reported information about the defendant having differences in her handwriting samples. The defendant is taking steps to alter her handwriting to avoid being implicated in the plot to frame Hannah Hollander in the murders. On or about April 6, 2022, the handwriting expert from the Texas Department of Public Safety issued a report stating that whoever authored the submitted documents include distorted and potentially unnatural prepared handwriting, low individuality, moderate to high reproducibility, pen lifts and hesitation, which could all be an attempt to disguise or deliberation. Therefore, it must not be possible to identify or eliminate a suspect as the writer of these particular documents. The report goes on, based on the known handwriting of Taylor Parker, she has the ability and skill level to have created this handwriting on these documents. Okay, let's see here. What else is she doing here? Fraudulent pattern of lying and misrepresenting most all aspects of her medical history and medical status. It is not a flat-out fabrication of a medical condition. It is a dramatic exaggeration of a medical condition. The defendant has disrupted jail operations to such a degree that the Bowie County Jail has had to alter several of their policies and procedures. So why she sounds like a real dream, huh? For example, the defendant would put in sick calls and then use the time she was being transported to the jail medical department to flirt with her boyfriend or pass notes. When the medical staff started examining the defendant at the defendant's cell, instead of taking the defendant to the medical department, the defendant became upset. The defendant also became furious when the typical jail procedures for security are applied to her. The defendant does not want to be handcuffed in the back gets angry when she is not handcuffed in the front. Members of the medical staff have complained the defendant is not properly restrained. On one occasion, Marlon Ebby observed the defendant walking around the jail without restraints. On another occasion, the defendant was taken to the medical department for a sick call and got mad because the medical staff requested the defendant be handcuffed in the back. The defendant said, "I'm not staying in here and putting up with this BS." On or about November 5th, 2021, the defendant was taken for a mental health session and was not handcuffed when she arrived. When the provider reminded the officer that the defendant needed to be handcuffed, the defendant became visibly agitated. The defendant would put in repeated jail sick calls and then refuse treatment or medication if the defendant was not going to be transported at a convenient time to see her boyfriends and or pass the scheming notes. On or about October 1st, 2021, the defendant filed a grievance against Hillcrest in the medical department because the inmate was not properly restrained in the medical department. The defendant stated that Hillcrest was being rude to the defendant for no reason. The defendant was observed on prior occasion being combative and aggressive with nurse Karen Ashley. The medical staff has repeatedly asked the security staff to make sure the defendant is handcuffed in the back for their safety. This makes the defendant furious. The defendant would put in sick calls at certain times to avoid medical staff and to meet up or pass by one of her jailhouse romantic interests on the way to the medical department. The defendant would report bogus medical conditions to the degree that she would be hospitalized. On one occasion, the defendant complained to April Colvin that nobody picked up the sick calls. Colvin told the defendant that Colvin knew the sick calls had been picked up because Colvin did it herself. The defendant made statements to Jessica Happ and other jail medical staff says, "Don't you know what I am here for? Don't you know what I am in here for? And let me go in the cell and I'll handle it," which were perceived by the listeners to the statements as threatening violence of some kind. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce each and every statement made by the defendant. Excerpts of the defendant's bogus medical and or mental claims made at the jail and or information related to sick calls is reproduced below. The state of Texas gives notice of intent to introduce a complete copy of the defendant's relevant records. Okay, where were we? On or about October 15, 2020, the defendant was being interviewed by Marcia Mull West for Community Health Corps Crisis Assessment. Mull West asked Parker for her reason for coming to mental health today, and Parker responded, "I murdered a lady." The defendant also reported one previous suicide attempt in 2015 after she was paralyzed. She described herself as good. The last 6 months have been a struggle. She said she was married from 2012 to 2017, and she added that her first husband made a decision for her to have a hysterectomy at age 21. She said she remarried in 2018 for a few months and then divorced. She said, "He spread rumors about me so bad, I moved from New Boston to Sims. And he left, had an affair, his girlfriend was pregnant. I got really depressed, isolated. My mom helped me through it." The defendant reports poor appetite for the past 5 weeks. Hasn't eaten much. Can't decide what to eat. Nothing tastes good. Puke after eating. Lost from 198 to 178 in the past 3 weeks. She reports decrease in sleep for the past 5 weeks. Frequent waking, 2 to 3 hours a night, nightmares, cold sweats, wake up in a panic, wake up crying for the past 4 weeks. Reports pinching self and bruising arms and legs from 2016 to 2018. Without prompting, Taylor reported staying awake for days at a time, been doing it for years, having blackouts. First husband was abusive, would be in the kitchen and then in the shower for no reason. What? Oh, and about November 10th, 2020, the defendant ends up going to the ER at Wadley Hospital and gives a rundown of her medical history that is mostly a total fabrication. She reports a history of a stroke. Didn't happen. And factor V Leiden disorder, she does not have this. On or about November 15, 2020, the defendant reported that she was vomiting and her head was hurting. The records note physical therapy evaluated her in the presence, and the patient was taking very slow steps and acting like she was unsteady. However, the physical therapist's expert opinion is that at least part of her mobility was exaggerated. It is impossible to get an accurate exam on a patient due to her cooperation. Lab imaging reviewed during hospitalization, the CT head, MRI, brain, carotid, US ultrasound are all benign. On or about March 20th, 2021, the defendant reports to her mother about a recent hospital visit. The defendant reports that the nurse came in and told the defendant that the doctor refused to admit the defendant to the hospital because of her crime. On or about March 22nd, 2021, the defendant says that she had gone back to the hospital. According to the defendant, the hospital gave her an IV, electrolytes, and it helped her feel 100% better. Later on, about March 23rd, 2021, in a jail call to Lana Addison, the defendant reported that she had been diagnosed with congestive heart failure. On or about March 30th, 2021, the defendant wrote out a sick call request form. And on it, she wrote, continued migraine, L, lobe area, stroke location, moderate pain, requesting BP check daily to see if that's the issue, and the defendant never suffered a stroke. On or about March 31st, 2021, the defendant told the medical health provider, Maya Mason, that I don't know why I'm here. I don't have issues, and I've never been on any meds or anything. I don't want anything for mental health. The additional assessment notes mentioned PT. They did not discuss much or long. She reported she has no mental health issues. On or about April 23rd, 2021, she told Lana that because of her new heart medication, she can't have red dye. For example, the dye that would be found in Dr. Pepper. She tells Lana that she almost made medical have a stroke about her health situation. On or about April 24th, the defendant is on the phone with her mother, giving her a new commissary order and orders Red Island Punch. Oh my gosh. On or about May 9th, 2021, the defendant wrote out a sick call request form. On the request form, she wrote, had red like swollen area. Attorney wanted looked at last night due to factor V closing disorder. The defendant repeats the bogus medical report on or about November 20th, 2021. She puts in a sick call and claims pain and swelling in the right leg, worried about blood clot with my factor V history of clots. Didn't she say then she had a pulmonary embolism, right? Yeah. I'm trying to see one thing here. What was I trying to say? She can't have, the heart medication. She said that. Okay. The defendant repeats the bogus medical report on November 20th, 2021. She puts in sick claims. Okay, the red and swelling. Defendant does not have a clotting disorder due to factor V Leiden mutation. The defendant has been telling this lie for years. So she has been tested for this mutation on multiple occasions, and each time the testing reveals a negative result. She mentions her attorney because she is constantly threatening to everyone at the jail with legal action if they don't do what she wants them to do when she wants them to do it. On or about June 12, 2021, the defendant filed a waiver of treatment evaluation, and tells the medical department she wants to stop taking certain medications because her family can't afford meds anymore. The defendant's family provides almost unlimited commissary, unlimited jail calls, and routinely sends the defendant books and other packages. The defendant and her mother talked on May 9, 2022 on a jail call about how her mother had sent her over 100 books to the defendant since she's been in jail. Okay, let me just see something here. I want to make sure that you guys are still here and you want to hear this, or let me know. Are you finding this interesting? Let me know. If you want me to continue, can you please go on and let me know? Let me know. Let me know. Don't stop. Okay, Planet Damnation. All right, I just want to make sure. It's interesting stuff. I have not heard. Have you guys heard most of this stuff before that she did? I didn't know she did all this stuff. Did you guys? I didn't know. I'm finding it interesting, but I want to make sure that you're finding it interesting. Okay. All righty. Let me go back to it. Okay. So then, where were we? Oh, here we are. On or about June 9th, 2021, the defendant and her mother are discussing all of this, and the defendant tells her mother about a conversation she supposedly had with Sean Hillhouse about discontinuing the medication. They further discussed commissary issues, and they believe Taylor is being treated unfairly. Aww. The defendant says, oh gosh, I can't stand this expression. If I have to chew Jeff's arse every time he comes up here, I will. I have no problem doing that. I'm done caring about ruffling feathers. I've ruffled enough right now that they know they don't F with me up here right now. Well, on or about June 19, 2021, the defendant wrote out a sick call request for him. On the reason for the request, the defendant wrote, I am wanting to return to seeking and talking to mental health counselor twice weekly per my inmate right with my penalties from Texas Jail Commission. Later on June 21st, the defendant writes another request this time. She says, requesting to see my mental health counselor weekly to talk informed my attorney with penalty of charge weekly. Counseling is available in Texas jail while awaiting trial. On or about June 21st, the defendant wrote out the sick call request for him and noted her reason for request was that she had a urinary tract infection and claimed burning when she urinates. The medical staff processed the sick call, and when they went to provide treatment, she refused the sick call. The medical response portion of this form states refuse. The reason for refusal was that she refused to go to the medical department. This is just one example of the defendant putting in a sick call and then refusing treatment. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to put on evidence of the defendant's continuing pattern of putting in sick calls and then refusing or canceling for various reasons. For example, to avoid certain providers or transport to the medical department was at a time when the defendant would not meet up with her latest jailhouse romantic interest. On June 22nd, 2021, the defendant saw Maya Mason, a mental health provider in the jail. The notes from the visit reflect the patient has never had mental health treatment before. Patient does not feel suicidal. No hallucinations noted. Patient reports that she would diagnose herself with depression and rates it out of 10. The defendant also discussed her family history. Patient has 2 children, Emerson, 10 years old, and Trey is 7 years old. Patient has her children at all times. The defendant also notes domestic violence and SA. Under provisional DMS-5 diagnosis, it notes patient reports depression. The defendant did not have both of her children full-time before her incarceration. No, she did not. She did not have legal custody of her son and did not consistently exercise her visitation rights. The defendant has made claims that former husbands and boyfriends have abused her for years. The defendant's claim of SA came to light after she was arrested for 2 counts of capital murder and kidnapping. On or about June 22nd, 2021, nurse Karen Ashley, I wonder if that's Mark Ashley's mother, was talking with the defendant about some of the defendant's medical records not matching up with the facts reported by the defendant. For example, the defendant was reporting that she received specific treatment from the specific providers and the jail medical staff. Hang on a minute, this is downloading. Okay. The jail medical staff, where were we? Okay. That she was unable to confirm the defendant's medical history. When asked about the missing records, the defendant said, from what she heard, the DA has plenty of her medical records you could get. The defendant then added that she didn't have to give the jail medical department all of her records. When the nurse explained that it was important for the staff to have her complete medical history to properly treat her, the defendant said, well, I don't know what to tell you then. When the defendant is confronted about her lies or fabrications, she becomes combative and disrespectful. On or about July 16, 2021, a history and physical interview was had at the jail involving the defendant and Karen Ashley. Several things were discussed, including the status of the defendant's tuberculosis testing. The notes indicate the patient states she has not had a TB skin test. Paperwork shows she did. Under history of chronic illness, the defendant has a lot to say. Most of it was completely fabricated. The defendant stated that she had a stroke in 2015 and was at Mother Frances in Tyler with a right hemiparesis. She said she took her first steps 8 months later, months after the stroke. She took her first 8 steps months after the stroke. She also reported she was in the hospital for 41 days. She also noted she had a hysterectomy, states she had cancer-like material from endometriosis, but it was worse than endometriosis. States that she was diagnosed TRMC by Melissa Slovak Tucker and Christopher Mason. She says, I have only had 3 seizures since the stroke and diagnosed by Con at Mount Pleasant. States that she has factor V clotting disorder. She adds that she was diagnosed by a hematologist in Tyler after she had the stroke. She states that she had 2 saddle PEs at Wadley's 2018. Back to the stroke, she says. She also states she was diagnosed with migraine, right hemiparesis, states it was from the Tyler Neuro Group, and Dr. Kahn was after her stroke and caused by her stroke. She says no color or peripheral vision in her right eye, and it was diagnosed by Dr. McHenry in Dallas, Texas, and states that it was a neuro-ophthalmologist that went to Dallas 3 times a week for 6 months and back at a year in 2015. And she further reports that right shoulder, right hip, and right knee problems with them dislocated due to the joints would not hold after the stroke. Dr. Johnson, the orthopedic surgeon in TRMC, diagnosed with bursitis and was doing injections, and that was helping. Also states 2018 was kicked by a cow. Sorry. In the hospital, because she went to a concert in Little Rock and drank some beer and woke up in terrible pain and went to the ER and had a perforated bowel, so they did surgery. Took her appendix and some of the intestine where it was perforated and her gallbladder. She reports that she did get addicted to pain medication after her stroke. To pain medication Stadol and Demerol due to migraines she had after her stroke. The question was asked of her, have you ever been hospitalized for depression, a psychiatric episode, or any other mental health condition? And she answered, once after my stroke at Titus Regional for 24-hour observation. After stroke, and had my mom living with us too. The question was asked of her about mental health counselors, and she responded, use counselor during and after divorces. Excuse me. And kept going because I really enjoyed my 2 counselors. She reported that she was a college graduate. That is a total fabrication. The defendant has a GED. Defendant reported that she has never taken medication for a mental health condition. The defendant was asked if she could possibly have an STD. The defendant responded, oh my gee, if I have an STD, I am going to be a murderer. The defendant did not report that she had multiple sclerosis. On or about July 21st, 2021, the defendant was reporting bogus medical concerns to providers in an attempt to change the lighting in an area of the jail where she was housed. The defendant reported that it had been recommended the defendant sleep with the lights off because of her seizures and migraines. The medical staff at the jail reviewed the defendant's medical records and found no such notation by her medical care providers. Karen Ashley looked into the matter for the jail and determined the defendant logged the complaint to a telemedicine provider, but the defendant's medical records could not confirm the defendant's claims. There was an obvious attempt by the defendant to fake a medical condition in order to get her way. The defendant has repeatedly and continuously engaged in behavior like this for years. The defendant also makes legal threats about her custody level. On or about 10/8/2021, the defendant puts in a Bowie County jail request and refers to her legal representative and attempts to sound like she knows what she is talking about by citing the Texas administrative legal system. The defendant says she has a right to refuse private custody. On or about July 16, 2021, through on or about July 25, 2021, the defendant starts reporting falls at the jail. One story is that she fell while she was mopping, another time she fell in the jail cell, and another time she fell while she was in the shower or leaving the shower. The defendant claimed that a finger or fingers were injured and ended up demanding to go to the emergency room for treatment. The providers at Wadley noted that nothing was wrong with her fingers, and she was sent back to the jail. The defendant sent out repeated sick call requests about her fingers and after she returned from the hospital. When the defendant got back from the emergency room, she continued to complain about her injured finger. When the jail medical personnel told the defendant that she had been examined by a doctor at the hospital and cleared, she became very angry. She became angry and started screaming at the nurse and making threats. This instance, the yelling at the nurse was overheard by Ms. Debbie Hall from the mailroom. On or about August 20th, 2021, the defendant reports that Makisha Parrish, a mental health care provider at the jail, that her prayer is that the victim's family knows how she really is and that she wouldn't do something like this. She's reporting this to her. She felt like it might be best to consider a plea as an option. She stated she hates the people who are involved in this. She talks about her children and how she doesn't want to see them to see her in jail. On or about March 22nd, 2021, she wrote a letter to her son Trey and told him, maybe Daddy can let you come and see me soon, but I know you are super busy. The defendant is aware that her former husband, Tommy Wacasey, does not want his son, Trey, to go to the Bowie County Jail and be exposed to that environment. However, the defendant wrote this in a letter to his 7-year-old child anyway. The defendant wrote to Trey on his birthday and said, sorry I can't be there. The defendant writes another letter and says, I sure miss your handsome face and sweet giggles with Mama. The defendant ends the letter with, talk to you soon. The defendant is also aware Tommy does not want his son speaking to the defendant on jail phone calls. The defendant has a history of saying hurtful things to Trey and upsetting him if she does not get her way. On or about April 22nd, 2022, the defendant reports to Makisha Parrish, a mental health provider at the jail, that she is now hearing voices. The defendant reports that the voices really bother her when she's trying to do yoga or read books. The defendant also stated that she argues with the voices throughout the day. On or about 4/26/2022, an appointment description was added to the defendant's medical records concerning her recent revelation that she hears voices. Dr. Lewis notes the patient was admitted in October 2020 and has been fine with no issues. However, recently, I am informed that the patient has begun hearing voices. On or about May 10th, 2022, the defendant adds to her story and tells Dr. Jawan Lewis that she has been hearing voices and claims she has previously been treated for the condition. The defendant claims she started taking medication for hearing voices when she was 11 years old, but discontinued taking the medication. The defendant now claims that the voices have become worse since she's been in the jail. The defendant continues to maintain that she is hearing voices as recently as May 20th, 2022, again to Makisha Parrish. The defendant reported 3/21/21 and 7/16/2021 that she has never been medicated for a mental health condition. The defendant reported on 6/22/2021 that she has never received treatment for a mental health condition. The defendant has a lengthy history of fabricating bogus medical conditions for various reasons. In this instance, the state of Texas believes that the defendant is again malingering. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to introduce evidence of the defendant's medical and mental health records. The defendant has been incarcerated at the Bowie County Jail and has continuously and repeatedly caused chaos and confusion and has disrupted jail operations by fabricating grievances, medical conditions, and issues with other inmates and correctional officers. The state gives notice of intent to introduce jail emails and or jail calls. Excerpts are reproduced below. The defendant has continuously and repeatedly threatened jail staff with bogus grievances and lawsuits since her incarceration at Bowie County Jail on or about October 14, 2020. She will tell the correctional officers that she is going to contact her lawyer and sue them individually and take everything they have. The defendant repeatedly said and continuously tells the jail staff that she will get her high-paid lawyers to come up there whenever she calls. The defendant tells the staff that she will drag everyone through court. She also tells them that she will file a grievance on the officers if they don't do exactly what she wants them to do. On one occasion, the defendant grabbed the receiver on a jail phone and pretended like she was calling her attorney on the phone, listing off the names of the correctional officers she is going to sue. The defendant will scream and yell at the jail staff if they do not do what she wants them to do at the time she wants them to do it. If a correctional officer does not do what she wants, she will also retaliate against that officer and or make up stories about them. For example, the grievance the defendant filed on the CO Amber Monk, the Bowie County Jail has had to change policy and procedure due to Taylor Parker's behavior. The defendant's route from her cell to medical was changed because the defendant was putting in sick calls to arrange meetings with her jailhouse boyfriends. The defendant will put in sick calls at certain times to try to avoid certain medical care workers, so the policy had to be changed on how the medical staff handled that. The medical staff also changed policies of how they picked up sick calls. Medical now sends 2 nurses instead of 1 nurse to pick up sick calls because of the defendant's bogus complaints. Well, okay, let's see what else we have here. On or about June 18, 2021, the defendant wrote an inmate residence grievance form describing a fabricated incident involving CO Amber Monk, and Monk refused a request from Parker. Parker writes, "I was threatened verbally by Officer Monk. Not directly. She made the comment, 'I'd cut that white biatch's throat.' She was, hold on, I'm still here. It's just the meeting. I just have to, hold on, I'll be right there. I'm still here though. Don't worry, I'm here. Here I am. I'm back. Okay, hold on. Let me get back here. Okay. Where's that throat, right? She was relieving Officer Nix from sitting with Tamia Thompson on suicide watch. I immediately requested Sergeant or Lieutenant R. Pod from our zone, Officer Nichols. I asked Lieutenant Carey to call my attorney, which she denied me after a verbal threat. All staff has been professional and respectful. Never have I been threatened. I am a PC inmate. The fact a lieutenant was okay to allow me to be threatened. I am a PC inmate. Okay, hold on. I will be contacting my attorney on this matter. The correctional officer involved, including Samantha Malone and Amber Monk, gave witness statements and no such threat ever occurred. The defendant made up stories about Samantha Malone on more than one occasion because Malone was on the Shite crew and did not give the defendant special treatment. The defendant would make up stories about being victimized in jail. The defendant told Shona Yeager and several others that she had been attacked by Malone and that Malone hit the defendant in the stomach so there wouldn't be bruising. The defendant hated that and would make up stories about anyone she hated or did something she didn't like. The defendant would tell inmates lies about correctional officers and their criminal cases. She told Shona Yeager that CO Malone was mad at Shona and got the district attorney and talked about Shona's case to mess things up for Shona. The defendant told Yeager that she overheard Malone talking about Shauna's case in the hallway. The defendant told Shauna that everyone else at the jail, that everyone else at the jail, that her family was paying for high-powered attorneys, that Taylor told Shauna that the defendant's attorneys would help Shauna with her criminal case. On one occasion, Correctional Officer Christina Brooks Caton overheard Taylor become irate and scream and yell just because the corrections staff would not allow her to do her recreation time when she wanted to do it. The defendant was yelling and screaming and calling the correctional officers names. The defendant said, "If that black biatch comes back here again, I'll scalp her head." The defendant has said statements like, "These biatches don't know me." And they just don't know anything. Correctional officer, that's the one thing we heard. They don't know who I am, right? She says something like that. They don't know. That's the voters. That was just in a little thing. It was never all this stuff. They don't know anything. Correctional Officer Malone and Keaton and others have overheard the defendants threaten to sue everyone and make threats like they don't know me, or they don't know what I can do, or they don't know what I'm capable of. Keaton also overheard the defendants say that they had better not come back in here after a trustee made the defendant angry. The defendant becomes angry and screams and yells when things don't go her way. The defendant has stated that she is going home after that trial, or she is getting life in prison. The defendant told another CEO that she won't sign a plea deal for more than 30 years. That's the maximum penalty she will agree to. Another version is the defendant believes that she is going to the Bowie County Women's Center. The defendant does not believe she will get the death penalty. On or about May 2022, the defendant stated that at the jail, she was having her mother, Shona Pryor, take some of her property the defendant had accumulated at the jail to her house because the defendant was not going to be convicted of capital murder and she was going home after the trial. The defendant told Shona Yeager a couple of different versions of events about the murder. The defendant first said that she was over at Reagan's house sleeping on the morning of the murders, and she acted like she was over at Reagan's all the time, and it was not uncommon for her to visit. The defendant heard some commotion and went to another area of the house to find Reagan had been attacked. The defendant told Shona, according to the defendant, Reagan knew that Reagan was dying, and Reagan begged her to cut the baby out in order to save the baby. Oh boy. The individual or individuals who attacked Reagan had already left the house when the defendant found Reagan. Kidding me. Okay. Sounds like a Jodi Arias story. Remember those? Okay. I'm trying to see where I was here. I'd already found Reagan. Okay. The defendant said she started cutting with a steak knife and then went to a kit with a scalpel in it to finish cutting out the baby. When the defendant cut the baby out, she held the baby to Reagan's face and said, "Tell your mama bye." Later, the defendant's story evolved, and she claimed that she had nothing to do with the crime. No, of course not. The defendant told Shona Yeager that there was evidence that she wasn't responsible for the crime, but the district attorney's office was getting rid of it. Imagine that. They're getting rid of it. The defendant never mentioned the identity of who she believed was responsible for the crime. The defendant said she was faking pregnant and she was going to go to Oklahoma and fake a miscarriage. She was going to have someone call her boyfriend Wade, tell them she had a miscarriage, but at the last minute, someone decided they didn't want to make the call to Wade. The defendant told Shona that Wade Griffin believed that the defendant was pregnant. The defendant told Shona Yeager, and when the defendant was pulled over by DPS and the first responders were attending to her, they noticed the baby's cord was really close to the defendant, and the first responders mistakenly formed the opinion that the defendant had the baby because of the placement of the umbilical cord and down her pants. Oh boy. The defendant formed a jailhouse romantic relationship with another inmate, Lana Addison. The defendant told Addison various stories involving the circumstances surrounding the murders, all of which were completely fabricated. Taylor Parker also exchanged letters with Addison both inside the jail and after Addison was released from incarceration. The defendant told Addison that Wade Griffin believed she was pregnant because Wade is a effing dumbass. Taylor told Addison she ordered a fake belly to wear. She would avoid intimacy with Wade by complaining of cramping or hurting. The OBGYN advised against sex because of a high-risk pregnancy. The defendant also told Addison that she would let Wade feel her stomach and try to convince him that the baby was moving. The defendant told Addison that she had to fake being pregnant because she loved Wade and wanted to keep him. The defendant explained that Wade was trying to leave her and break things off, so she faked being pregnant. The defendant and Wade came up with the baby name together and had a gender reveal party. When the defendant was in jail with Addison, the defendant claimed she had a jail call with her mother. Shauna and Wade were over at Shauna's house visiting Taylor's children and would not get on the call with the defendant. The defendant acted furious when she got off the telephone about Wade's behavior. None of this is true. The defendant also told Addison that Taylor had custody of both of her children. She said that her routine was to get up at 4 a.m. and do farm chores, work all day, come home, prepare dinner for everyone, and then she would sit with the children until their bedtime at 9 p.m. She said that's what a good mother does. She said that she had full custody of both of her children before her arrest. She said that her son's father was trying to take advantage of the situation and get custody of their son and terminate her rights, her parental rights. She told Addison that her son did not know his father like that, and she was concerned that her son's father was a stranger to him. She was worried that it was going to be detrimental to her son. Taylor Parker said that after she was arrested, that her family and her children were being harassed and threatened. On or about March 29, 2021, Parker told Lana a story on a jail call about an unknown individual approaching Emerson at an after-school daycare and told Emerson, "You're as pretty as your mom," and they would be seeing Emerson around. The defendant also told Addison that her mother, Shauna Pryor, had several break-ins and after Taylor was arrested. Taylor was very upset because people were breaking into her mother's house despite the security measures that were in place. The people breaking into Shauna's house were out to get the defendant or get to her children. The defendant also told Addison versions of the New Boston Bandit stories wherein Taylor Parker was made to participate in the murder of Reagan. Taylor fabricated an outrageous set of facts involving Kodiak, J-Dog, Fat Boy. This sounds so much like Letitia Stout. Some girl with purple hair and possibly a black female. The defendant told Addison that on the day of the murders, the defendant was going to go to Walmart when Wade called her and told her to go back to the house to put the dog up. On the way back to the house, Taylor was stopped by the bandits, either drugged or hit, and then Taylor was knocked out. Taylor told Addison she was in and out of consciousness and woke up at Reagan's house. The gang had beat and stabbed Reagan, and Taylor only cut Reagan's baby out because Reagan was dying and begging the defendant to do it. Another version was that Taylor couldn't bring herself to cut the baby out, so she placed the knife by Reagan's stomach, and Reagan, using her broken hand, this sounds so much like Anthony Tote. Remember that? How his wife was begging him to kill her. Remember that one? And the Disney neighborhood, former Disney neighborhood celebration, Florida. Yeah. Okay. She's got a broken hand. Wait a minute. Reagan, using her broken hand, pushed the knife in and pulled it across her own stomach. Taylor told Addison that she carried a medical kit of sorts that she had purchased for the care of her animals, and she routinely performed C-sections on cattle. She said that, this is crazy, that a blue baby foot fell out of Reagan's stomach. After the baby was cut out, Taylor held up the baby and said, "Look, it's a beautiful girl." And then she said Reagan smiled big, and then she sighed, and then she died. She told Taylor told Addison, "At least Reagan got to see her." Taylor said that she took the baby to the couch and attempted to do CPR. The baby was not breathing, and Taylor could not locate a cell phone to call for help. During the murder, Kinley walked in the room, and Taylor yelled at Kinley to go back to her room. Taylor said she knew Reagan was dead anyway, and she thought it would take longer to call 911. The defendant said that she wasn't sure if her phone was in her car until she was driving down the road, and then she tried to call 911, do CPR, drive the car, and take off the murder clothes, all while driving down the road after the murders. She decided to drive to the closest hospital that was only 6 miles away. She told Addison that the motive for the attack on Reagan and Taylor was financially related. The story was that Taylor Parker owned a large sum of money. Drug dealers, this doesn't even make sense. Taylor Parker, owed a large sum of money to drug dealers for purchasing dilaudid. According to Taylor, Reagan also owed money for purchasing the drug from the same dealers. Parker's story was that on the night before the murders, she and Reagan were discussing making payment to the drug dealers while standing in Reagan's driveway. Taylor and Reagan planned for Taylor to come over the next day with $20,000 in cash, while Taylor kept that in a safe at home she shared with Wade. Taylor said that they realized that that Taylor and Reagan were going to be spied on by individuals who lived across the street. When Addison asked Taylor why the drug dealers were continuing to supply her with drugs when she owed that kind of money, she replied, "I have credit." She later said individuals across the street matched the description of the defendant's kidnappers. Later in Taylor's letters to Addison, Taylor indicates that she's lying about her finances is what got Reagan killed. The story later changed about the assault. She decided she hated Wade to include Wade, orchestrated the kidnapping and assault of Taylor Parker because he did not want her or their baby. In one of the letters written by Taylor to Addison, she says that Wade wanted her dead because of money that he would inherit from her grandpa's timber and or oil and gas money. Taylor told Addison that she did not initially tell the police what happened because she didn't want the police to go back to Reagan's house because it looked like she committed the murders. Addison would question the defendant about some of the details of the murder story that didn't make sense, but Taylor would come up with explanations to try and explain the evidence. Taylor also told Addison that she had thrown the murder clothes out the window after she left Reagan's house. Addison is also where she can testify to the details of Taylor's sophisticated jailhouse scheme to frame other individuals such as Hannah Hollander and Shauna Yeager. Taylor told Addison that she was arrested in Idabel, Oklahoma. She was beaten and deprived of food and water for 6 days. She said that when she was extradited to Texas and arrived at Bowie, she was taken into the shower area and assaulted by correctional officers. One of them was Officer Malone, who punched her in the stomach and demanded she turn over a phone. She had to turn over the phone. She also told Addison that the defendant's mother brought Pizza Hut at the jail, and a jailer snuck the pizza in at midnight. She also said she ate the entire pizza by herself. Wow. Okay, let me see. I gotta get a drink. I've got to get a cold drink. I'll be right there. Just talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I need a drink because my mouth is dry, and I want to just get to the chat here. Storms, what happened? Oh, hi, Matt. How are you? How's it going? What happened about Casey Anthony? She's really something. I didn't know. I didn't know a lot of this. I have not heard any of this. There's a lot in here. I think the only thing I heard was something like the one thing what was the one thing I said that she said? Oh, that you don't know who she is or something to somebody, right? All right, let me just get a drink. Hang on. Got to get a drink. I need something cold to drink. I think I'll get. Can I get a seltzer? Yeah, I'll get a seltzer. You get something else, okay? All right. You get whatever you want. I'm gonna get a seltzer. I haven't had this flavor. This is sparkling ginger water. Let's see what this tastes like. Oh, it smells really good. I thought it was going to be like really, it smells like freaking ginger ale. I thought it was going to be like that really, really strong ginger, like when you put gingerbread or something. It smells like ginger ale. This is on too. It's weird. That's good. That's really good. Okay, I'm going. Calm down. Let's roll. I could take a little break. I have to just get a little drink. Okay. Back on it. All right, so Taylor told Addison more bogus info about her medical history. She told Addison she was taking diet pills, drinking energy drinks, and taking Dilaudid, and it caused her to have a stroke. She told Lana that she had multiple sclerosis and COPD. She told Lana that she had the oxygen for the COPD and that she was able to have oxygen at the jail because they gave her a big cell. When Lana asks Taylor to explain something that doesn't make any sense, Taylor will stare off and not talk. Taylor will snap out of it and come back to the conversation. She told Lana she has a condition. Lana also confided that Taylor Lana confided to Taylor that Lana was SA'd by a family member when she was young. Taylor told Lana that she knew how Lana felt because her dad had used to do that to her at night. Taylor said that's why she has low self-esteem. Taylor told Addison, she doesn't want to talk about the details, but that some things that happened to Addison had happened to her. Taylor will listen to other stories of physical and SA and adopt those stories as her own. Taylor wrote numerous letters to Lana about numerous topics. Some were related to the case and some were not. The defendant, Taylor Parker, lectures Lana on abusing prescription medication and even lectures Lana on how to properly care for her children. She acts like she cares deeply for Lana and only wants Lana to change her ways because Taylor Parker wants what's best for Lana and her children. Taylor also writes letters to her grandmother and her Aunt Marilyn that contain bogus or fabricated information. The state gives notice of intent to introduce the defendant's jail letters. Excerpts of the jail letters from the defendant to Addison are reproduced in this notice. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Taylor writes to Addison about how she regrets telling lies about having money. Taylor says her and her family do not have significant amounts of money, but she tells wild tales about her family was fabulously wealthy and how they obtained their wealth in one of the fabricated stories involving the New Boston gang of bandits led by the infamous Kodiak. Taylor was targeted for drugging and kidnapping because Taylor was known to have large sums of money. My goodness. Okay. She said, my money lie got my friend killed, and no matter what, I'll wear the scar on my heart forever. On another note, immediately, she said, after the monsters die the heroes, Robert Caliso, I don't want to be a hero because I wasn't that day. Reagan refused to show those SOBs any weakness. As I begged, pleaded, cried, screamed, she told me to say nothing. I will never unsee the worst day of my life, Lana. Absolutely none of this is true, except that Taylor tells wild lies about being wealthy when she is not. In a letter dated April 2nd, 2021, she is lecturing Lana on how Lana needs to stop abusing the prescription medication. Taylor writes, What in the hell is it going to take, huh? Tell me, please. Losing your children? Killing someone under the influence of meds or prescription abuse? Get a grip. Later in the letter, Taylor says, I asked you to help me. I gave you a part. They were right. People you trust to help you will always fail you, let you down. I needed you and you hurt me. She adds, this is what happens when someone really loves you. There are consequences to your actions. On another occasion, Taylor writes to Lana, I won't watch anyone else die at my hands. Taylor continues her pattern of reminding Lana that she needs Lana to help her. Taylor writes, I know you're busy with your life and freedom. Don't forget me. Keep in mind what we talked about. Remember, court is April 9th at 9:45 a.m. to 10, I believe. Come, I'll see if Jeff can pull you back afterwards with us to talk. She ends her letter with P.S. I need you to do that. Be strong. She writes in a separate letter, if I tell you I will do something, you can take it to heart. I will never say I will and take it back. I can only pray if someone says they will do something, it's the truth. Okay. In another letter to Lana, dated May 2021, Taylor gives Lana a medical update on a double ear infection that she claims to have been diagnosed with at the jail. She is explaining the excruciating pain and how she has significant hearing loss. She also explains to have heavy bleeding from her ear. She writes, with court Friday for our 6 weeks BS meeting for the DA to show her arse and smile, bless her heart. Prayers probably wouldn't cleanse her sins, by no means. Taylor goes on to say the books her family and her attorney have purchased for her are being held, and the judge has been made aware of the problems. She closes the letter with a meaningful quote about loneliness and being forgotten. She also writes in a letter to her Aunt Marilyn about an upcoming court date and says, prayers my way, please. Court is Friday at 1 p.m. for our 6-week check-in so the DA team can show out like fools. Not my own words, but much nicer than what I have to say. Taylor repeatedly writes jail letters out to her family that contain fabricated or exaggerated information. She also told Christina Brooks Keaton that she was writing a book about the murders. And Taylor told Amber Monk that she was getting a Netflix and movie deals. She told Keaton that Reagan Hancock was her best friend, and she misses the times that her and Reagan would sit and talk. She also said that she hates that people could think she could do something like that to her best friend. What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you? Okay, sorry. Taylor wanted Keaton to make a copy of her book, but Keaton told Taylor that the copy machine was broken at the jail. Sorry. Taylor plays the victim in every scenario in the jail. She is constantly telling the correctional officers that they're treating her differently or discriminating against her. On or about October 1st, 2021, she filed a grievance with the jail because she believed she didn't have a television to watch. She said that she had the right not to be discriminated against and feel that it is an issue here. She told the medical staff one time that a doctor at the hospital refused to treat her because of her charges. She was at the hospital under bogus pretenses. She also repeated the same story in a letter to Lana. She wrote, the ER provider refused to treat me because of my crime. Where am I? Because of my crime, and to stay in jail and die was better. That broke my heart. Taylor will fabricate injuries in the jail and then get mad at the medical staff when they tell her that nothing is wrong with her. On one occasion, Taylor reported that she tripped and fell on a spot on the floor after it was mopped, and she believed she was injured. She was sent to the hospital, x-rays were taken, and there was nothing wrong with her. She was transported back to the jail. Then she yelled that she was going to call her attorney. Please, sir, may I have my lawyer? Okay. Several correctional officers have observed this type of behavior, including Kendall Nichols, Samantha Malone, and her Amber Monk. Taylor will rant and rave at the officers to intimidate them to get her way. She told Amber Monk and others that she has a deal with Netflix about the murders. She said that Netflix wanted to film her while she was at the Bowie County Jail before trial, but the sheriff's department wouldn't allow Netflix to film inside the jail. According to BCSO, Netflix has made no such request. Taylor stated that the documentary will end how the trial ends. She also stated that Lifetime wants to do a movie about her and that Nancy Grace is trying to get an interview. She also maintains to the jail staff and other inmates that her family is wealthy and they have their own ranches and get millions of dollars in oil and gas money. Other stories include that her family is wealthy hog farmers from Arkansas or owners of the Morton Salt Company. She once told that her father won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that set the family up for life. In a jail letter out, she writes, "I want my innocent side to come out. I am wrongly accused. We deserve to be heard, so I am doing a tell-all biography under a legal contract." She goes on to explain that she is working with a private attorney to control the false information that's being spread about her. She writes about wanting her story to get some publicity. Okay, let's see here. To a jailhouse girlfriend, Lana Addison. She spends much of the letter letting Lana have it because Lana has freedom and no longer cares about the Taylor. Taylor wants Lana to contact a family member of Lana's who has connections with the Texas Prison Board and get Taylor to a good prison. Taylor goes on to explain that she is going to have a pretrial hearing on December 10th and says, "I am going to motion to restate my bond under strict guidelines, house arrest, monitors at the house 24/7 to allow me home until trial." She asked, "Could you call around for some high-profile bondsmen willing to work with cash collateral? Anything helps if you so want to. Or contact Fox News or CNN. I'd like an all-piece on my story." Taylor told Lana that she wanted to give interviews and tell her story so that she could get some money. Taylor said that she has an extensive collection of books in her jail cell. She frequently discusses her books about murder and such with other inmates, medical staff, and correctional officers. She keeps her books about how to solve murder. She has previously written short stories short stories about murder. Has written jail letters offering her services to the FBI to assist them in solving murders, and reads books about murder in jail. Okay. State of Texas hereby gives notice of their intent to introduce Taylor Parker's short stories about murder, each and every letter recovered from the defendant's jail cell, and testimony related to her continued system about ordering books. Okay, let's see here. So she's got, for example, on March 18, 2022, Taylor sends her mother a list of books she wants. She wants her mom to send Red Queen series, From Blood and Ash series, House of Earth and Ash series. April 16th, she wants Shadow Beast series, Supernatural Academy, Year 1. And Secret Keeper's House of Darken. The description of Shadow Beast reads, "If you like sexy, dark, paranormal romances with humor, steam, action, a tough heroine, and an anti-hero, this book is for you. She also uses the exchange of books to get her notes passed around through the jail. She also manipulates correctional officers into letting her out of her cell at times she's not supposed to be out of her cell. She will also rant and rave and lash at correction officers if she is not able to get out of her cell when she wants to. She routinely discusses this with her parents on the jail calls. She wears makeup in the jail and to the medical department. She also wears makeup to attorney visits and to court appearances. She also said to Kelly Gilchrist in the medical department that that she would get sick at the sight of blood and might pass out. Wow. How much? Let me see, how much more is this? Okay, there's not that much more. I think we can do it. Okay. On or about October 8th, 2021, Parker filled out a Bowie County Jail inmate request. She's requesting information on whom to speak with regarding a private custody classification. After speaking with a legal representative, we will be petitioning with the Texas jail with her legal commission on her status. After multiple outside sources with the Texas administration legal system, as the inmate, I have the right to refuse private custody. This is my second written request. To first request was never responded to by the warden. The state of Texas hereby gives notice of intent to use all of the medical records provided by Bowie County Jail that pertain to Taylor Parker and her requests, grievances, sick calls, commissary, inmate trust account, and any other relevant information. On or about November and December 2021, Taylor Parker had conversations with a Shaitavia Stanley about what transpired during the murder. She told Stanley that the defendant, that she was on drugs. Taylor was on drugs when the murders happened. That Taylor said the victim's baby daddy or boyfriend planned it out and drugged Taylor. The victim's husband at the time of the murders was Homer Hancock. Let's see. Taylor tells Stanley that she's committed the murders only because of the drugs. And then Taylor also asked Stanley to move notes around the jail for her. She wants Stanley to pass the notes to Adam and Travis Blocker. She paid Stanley and coffee to pass the notes, but Stanley threw the notes in the trash and did not pass them. Taylor maintains her jail romances and formulates her plots using jail notes passed around by various means. Let's see. She also asks inmates and COs to pass the notes. She told Amber Monk about the defendant's former boyfriend, Wade Griffin, was beating her, and that Wade says she wasn't pregnant because she and Wade would shower together and have sex. Taylor blamed her conduct on Wade because he was so manipulative and he beat her. She said, I am not taking the rap on myself. She did not mention Wade Griffin and her being abused to Stanley, and did not mention Homer Hancock and her being drugged to Amber Monk. She did not mention her wild story about being kidnapped, drugged, and forced to participate in the murder with Kodiak J-Dog and Fat Boy and the rest of the bandits. to Stanley or Monk that she also expressed sadness on the date of the anniversary of Reagan and Braxton's murders. She also was concerned for herself because people would be posting negative comments about her on social media. She said she has shown no remorse for the crimes and acts like she's the victim. Since her incarceration and before, she has made claims that her former husbands, Tommy Wacasey and Hunter Parker, have claimed that her former husbands have abused her on or about December 23rd, 2021. She writes in a letter to her prison boyfriend, Augustine Diaz, that her former boyfriend, Wade Griffin, was abusive. She also writes, I'm big on family. I lost that with Wade abusing me physically and mentally. He isolated me, called me fat and tell me that there was no way he could be attracted to me, pinch my thighs or arms. It was horrible, but those are my mistakes to live with. State of Texas gives notice of intent to introduce the defendant's phone calls from the Bowie County Jail. These calls would include but not be limited to jail calls occurring October 15, 2020. They go on and on and on. Let me see. She has been incarcerated at the Bowie County Jail since her extradition. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, here we go. This is another thing. Since her time of incarceration, she has appeared at pretrial hearings wearing a facial mask with sunflowers on it. Hold on a second. I think I heard something about this sunflowers. They don't like it because is this the one that sunflowers remind her? Hold on, let me see. Since the time of her incarceration, Taylor Parker has appeared at pretrial hearings wearing a facial mask with sunflowers on it. She will wear the mask even on occasions when no one else is in the room. The sunflower was Reagan Hancock's favorite flower. Yeah, this is the other thing that I have heard. But other than that, I haven't heard any of this stuff. Favorite flower, and members of the courtroom gallery are frequently wearing sunflower jewelry, clothing, etc. in remembrance of Reagan and Braxton Hancock. So Taylor has repeatedly and continuously worn a mask with sunflowers on it in front of Reagan's widower, Homer Hancock, and in front of Reagan's mother, Jessica Brooks. Pursuant to the open file policy, the Bowie County District Attorney Office defense counsel is welcome to view the state's file. Okay, so that is all of that. So what do you guys think about all of that? That's crazy, right? A lot of stuff we didn't know about her, but it is 3 o'clock in the morning and it's time, I think, to play the word game. And that's a lot to take in. Wow. That is a lot. I don't think we knew anything about that. Okay. I don't know. Video, maybe they're just relaxing. Sometimes, you know what, video, when someone's reading a document, some people just sit back, relax, because it's hard. Like with me, it's hard for me to listen to something and be typing. So... and at this time, a lot of people just sit back and just take it in. Okay. That's for you, video, but that's not for everybody. You can't say how I feel. Okay. Yeah, Jen's listening. Right. Oh, you know? Okay. All right. Oh shoot, I wanted this. We watching something in the Zoom? No, I'm exhausted. Video. I don't know how you do that. I'm exhausted. We watched something the other day, and then it was earlier than this, and people fell asleep. I'm exhausted. Maybe if we start earlier, we have to plan it to start earlier. Movie nights have to be earlier because nobody makes it. Linda fell asleep. I think Jen, Matt, and I made it to the end. And Margaret fell off because of the storm. Yep. And now I can tell everybody's tired because. Planet Damnation, are you still here? What are we? Hi, Ari. Oh, you're listening to Ari? Okay, thank you for letting us know. I think a lot of. Did you know a lot of that, Ari? I didn't. I have not heard a lot of that. I heard maybe 2 things from there, so it was very informative. Blessings back to you too. There's Planet Damnation. See, video? They're just hanging. They're hanging, right? You guys are just hanging out. They're listening. They're listening. Okay. They're listening. You didn't know, yeah, a lot of it either, yeah. I know. Okay, let's see here. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I need to get this word, let's see. Are you listening, Lasso Lacey? Are you okay? Tomorrow you'll make it earlier to the live. Okay, good night, Ari. Have a good night, Ari. Oh my gosh, what is this word? Murder, where are you? Slobs, solos, looms, booms, moss, boss, lens, glosses. Slow-mos. Slow-mos. Oh my gosh, where is murder? Come on, murder. Murder. Oh my gosh. Oh. Excuse me. Oh. Oh, let me see. I agreed. You agreed what? That you're exhausted? I'm exhausted. I have to get this. We'll have to use a hint. We'll have to use the hint. Oh, okay. I was gonna say that. I thought I did that word. That's crazy. I thought I did that. That doesn't make sense. Oh, July, stop. Stop it, July. Stop. July is going too fast. It's got to stop. Has to stop. Stop it now. Stop, stop, stop. Slow it down. Slow it down, baby. Oh, I can't do this anymore. I'm falling asleep. We'll have to finish this tomorrow. I will see you guys later. I got to go to bed. I cannot keep my eyes open. I did an earlier live today. If you missed it, go watch it. The one with the net hooker. There's some new evidence coming out there. I think we're going to have an arrest imminently. I have a short up there. I'm probably going to have another short up there. I have a few shorts. I have a couple of product reviews I've got to do that I've had for a while. A height chair. I have a monitor. I have this carb mat that went into the back of my car. I have so much stuff that I have said they've sent, and I've got to get stuff done. So look at some of them. I've already made the videos. I just got to get them out there. So yeah, look around to that. But I've got to get some sleep. Because I have to get up early. Got a lot to do. And I'll see you guys. Take care and be good. And we'll see you later on. Love you. Bye. Okay.